Chapter 1. Dongyang Mountain. Dongyang Sword Sect. Battle cries shook the sky. Hundreds of people surrounded the Eastern Sun Sword Sect, and more than 30 agile figures were fighting outside the ancestral hall of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. The number of Dongyang Sword Sect disciples guarding outside the ancestral master hall was decreasing. In the end, there were only 3 people left. Defeat was close at hand. All of a sudden, sword chi swept across. A figure appeared at an incredible speed, and a frosty sword aura completely enveloped the dozens of figures outside the ancestral hall of the Dongyang Sword Sect. Chi! 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 Before the 30 figures could react, blood spurted out. 14 of them were hit by the sword at the same time and were forced to retreat. Xing Hui. It's Xing Hui of the Dongyang Sword Sect. Sword Saint Xing Hui. He's here. Didn't Wang Shinting ask the Warrior Association to put pressure on him and ground him in the South Mountain courtyard? Retreat! 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 In an instant, the 30 figures that surrounded the last 4 people of the Dongyang Sword Sect retreated at the same time. In the blink of an eye, they retreated 100 meters away. They all looked at the green figure that suddenly appeared with fear. Xing Hui, you shouldn't have come. A woman who seemed to be the leader of the remaining 3 people of the Dongyang Sword Sect looked at him and sighed. As a disciple of the Dongyang Sword Sect, it's my duty to help the sect when it's in trouble. Xing Hui stepped forward and helped the woman sit down gently. You're not from the Jianghu. Why are you involved in the whirlpool of the Jianghu? Your father is the deputy mayor of Puyang City, and your mother is the president of the commercial bank of Yuhai province. You have a bright future. If you don't get involved in the Jianghu, no one will dare to touch you with the help of the National Warrior Association. Xing Hui looked at the woman whose white clothes were dyed red with blood and lowered his head. I have my reasons for coming. Hearing Xing Hui's words, the woman tightened the corner of her clothes. Her pretty white face was full of sorrow. Junior brother. This is my choice. Xing Hui said. His tone was not heavy, but it was full of determination. Xing Hui. You're just a martial arts enthusiast who joined the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. You're not a true disciple of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. Do you really want to meddle in the affairs of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect? It was a serious crime for a martial artist to kill a high-ranking government official. Jiang Ningji had killed Governor Yi, Director Huang, and Mr. Qi of Beijiang Province by relying on her martial arts and swordsmanship. She had also killed 23 police officers who were sent to arrest her. Her crime was not punishable by death. This matter had reached the central government and caused the higher-ups to be enraged. The higher-ups of the Martial Artists Association headquarters had personally given the order to destroy the Dongyang Sword Clan in order to correct the public. Today, no one can save the Eastern Sun Sword Sect. If you insist on relying on your swordsmanship to protect the Eastern Sun Sword Sect, then in order to maintain the order of the Jianghu and prevent the conflict between the Jianghu and the government from intensifying, don't blame us for bullying you and killing you together. At this time, among the panicked crowd surrounding Xing Hui and the others, a man who looked to be in his 40s stepped forward and shouted in a deep voice. Senior sister killed them because they deserved to be killed. They raped the female disciples of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect and tortured them to death. If such scumbags are not killed, the world will not be appeased. Jiang Ningji, you shouldn't kill them. The Martial Artists Association will discuss with the government and give the Eastern Sun Sword Sect an explanation for this matter. As the middle-aged man spoke, he sternly glanced at the blood-stained woman in white behind Xing Hui. This matter could have been resolved peacefully, but because of you, the entire Eastern Sun Sword Sect has been destroyed. Now, if you don't want the inheritance of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect to be completely destroyed, you'd better come with me to be punished. Otherwise, none of the disciples of the Eastern Sun Sword Sect will be able to leave Mount Dongyang alive. They deserve to die. If this happens again, I won't regret it. Jiang Ningji's pretty face was resolute. She would rather die than live in dishonor. You. Because of your impulse, the government's fear of the Jianghu has increased again. The people of the Jianghu are in a more difficult situation. Enough. Before the middle-aged man finished speaking, a fierce shout suddenly came from the crowd. Then, the crowd of Jianghu people separated, and a special tactical team of 108 people quickly came out of the crowd. They were fully armed and holding guns, aiming at Xing Hui, Jiang Ningji, and the elders of the Eastern Sun Sword sect, Jiang Yun and Gu Ku. In the center of this special team, a middle-aged man with a dignified aura and a man with a colonel's insignia arrived at the same time. Governor Yi. Division Commander Huang. Seeing the two appear with soldiers, the crowd of Jianghu people was obviously in a mess. Among them, the middle-aged man who had spoken to Xing Hui earlier had a dark expression. He stepped forward and said, Governor Yi, Division Commander Huang, since this is a Jianghu matter, it should be handled by the Jianghu people. This is the agreement made between the Jianghu people and the government. Therefore, Governor Yi and Division Commander Huang, please ask these soldiers to stand down for the time being. Stand down. Yi Qingsong, the governor of Beijiang province, stared sternly at the middle-aged man. Luo Fusheng, let bygones be bygones. I've already given you a chance, but you don't have the ability to deal with these remnants of the Dongyang sword sect. As such, we have to do it ourselves. After Yi Qingsong finished speaking, he did not give Luo Fusheng a chance to speak at all. He turned to Division Commander Huang and said, I have heard that those martial artists who have cultivated to the peak of Jianghu can dodge bullets and fight against modern firearms, but I don't believe it. The man in front of me is known as the Sword Sage. Half a year ago, he single-handedly defeated 10 martial Dao masters in the country. He's one of the strongest martial artists. Today, I'd like to see if he's really as rumored, able to fight against the fully armed elite special forces with his flesh and blood. Please broaden my horizons, Commander Huang. As Governor Yi wishes. Governor Yi, Division Commander Huang, Luo Fusheng was about to say something, but Huang Chenglong had already given the order. Kill. Retreat into the ancestral hall. Xing Hui did not want Yi Qingsong and Huang Chenglong, who were not from the Jianghu, to suddenly order the soldiers to open fire. He immediately grabbed Jiang Ningji and flew toward the ancestral hall behind him. Xing Hui, Gu Ku, take the young sect master and leave quickly. I will cover the rear. Elder Jiang Yun roared the moment everyone was about to open fire. His qi and blood surged, and he suddenly shot toward Yi Qingsong and Huang Chenglong in the middle of the military formation like a cannonball. Die, dog officials. Open fire. Kill them. Seeing Jiang Yun charging over at a speed that far exceeded the limits of the human body, Yi Qingsong's expression changed and he hurriedly shouted. Bang! 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 Gunshots immediately sounded. However, under the attack of the bullets, Jiang Yun's figure changed at an unimaginable speed. In an instant, he broke through the firepower net formed by the 108 Special Forces soldiers. Even though his body was grazed by the bullets and was bleeding, he had already pounced in front of Yi Qingsong. Die! Humph! At this moment, Huang Chenglong, who was in charge of giving the order, snorted coldly. The next moment, his qi and blood erupted as he rushed toward Jiang Yun, who was already at the end of his rope, and punched. As the two fists collided, a shockwave surged, and Jiang Yun, who was charging toward him, was blasted away by this blow. Huang Chenglong's body also shook as he took 3 steps back, crushing the neatly laid marble slabs under his feet. Martial arts? I know it too. Although I, Huang Chenglong, am not a martial Dao master, I am an advanced martial artist. You won't be able to kill me. Bang! 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 At the same time that Jiang Yun was repelled, gunshots rang out. Jiang Yun, who had not had time to breathe after his qi and blood erupted, was no longer as lucky as before. In an instant, he was shot full of holes by dozens of guns and died with anger and indignation. Go! Leave no one alive. Huang Chenglong's eyes glittered. I heard that the Dongyang Sword sect has a heavenly book stone wall inscribed with ancient words that no one can understand. Today, I have the opportunity to mobilize the army. I must obtain this heavenly book stone wall. As this thought flashed through his mind, he secretly glanced at Luo Fusheng and the others. It was likely that more than half of the Jianghu people present had come with the same goal as him. Otherwise, these people would not be so proactive. Ancestral Hall. It was built from a cave near Dongyang Mountain, and a small half of the hall was embedded in the mountain wall. Young sect master, Xing Hui, there is a secret passage in the cave that leads directly to the outside of the mountain. However, if no one stops you, once someone notices and catches up to you, you won't be able to escape even with the secret passage. Therefore, I will stay behind to cover you. You two are the most talented people in the Dongyang Sword sect, so you must leave alive. No. Xing Hui shook his head. Elder Gu Ku, with your strength, you won't be able to stop hundreds of well-equipped special forces for long. It is best for me to cover you. As he spoke, he flicked the sword in his hand. All of you, retreat. You must leave safely with senior sister Ningji. Junior brother Xing Hui, this matter has nothing to do with you. It is all my fault. Since I have made a mistake, I should bear the consequences. Jiang Ningji said with a sorrowful expression. It is not your fault. You have never done anything wrong. Xing Hui looked at Jiang Ningji. I believe that no one in the Eastern Sun Sword sect will blame you for killing those scumbags, even if a calamity befalls them because of this. But, leave it to me. I'm the only one who can stop the pursuit of these soldiers. Me bringing up the rear is the best choice. Furthermore, my identity is different from all of you. You are all people of the pugilistic world, while I have a father who is sitting on the position of mayor and the influential Qing family behind me. They definitely won't dare to kill me. Really? Really? You know that I will never lie to you. Jiang Ningji looked at Xing Hui's youthful face, and her eyes gradually blurred. She suddenly stepped forward and hugged Xing Hui. Xing Hui, promise me that you will leave Mount Dongyang alive and find me. Qing Su sniffed her body fragrance that was mixed with the faint smell of blood. He ran his left hand through the soft hair on her back and wrapped around her slender waist. He said cautiously, I promise you that I will leave the Eastern Sun Mountain alive and find you alive. I will wait for you. Jiang Ningji said as if she was making a promise. Then, she quickly put a purple gemstone necklace on Xing Hui. I will wait forever. Xing Hui knew that this necklace was her family heirloom. It was called Fortune. Go. Xing Hui said solemnly. Jiang Ningji nodded forcefully. You must find me. With that, she suddenly turned around and walked toward a small cave not far from the heavenly tome stone wall. Gu Ku followed closely behind. Gu Ku, protect Ningji. Seeing that Gu Ku was about to step into the cave, Xing Hui cautiously said. I owe the sect master a debt of gratitude. Unless I die, I will not let any harm come to the young sect master. Gu Ku said resolutely. Ningji is too inexperienced. With you here, I can rest assured. Xing Hui looked outside the ancestral hall. I will do my best to prevent them from taking another step out of the ancestral hall. Xing Hui. Yiqingsang, he won't stop because of your identity. The grudge of my son's death is irreconcilable. Gu Ku fell silent. Seeing that the approaching soldiers were about to appear in front of him, he suddenly took out an exquisite and mysterious porcelain bottle and handed it to Xing Hui. Take care. Then, he turned around and left. Ningji. This time, I'm afraid I have to break the promise, Xing Hui murmured. Unfortunately, if he had not been impulsive, with his special supernatural ability, his achievements would not have stopped at Martial Dao Master. In the future, he might have even become a Martial Dao Grandmaster, or even a martial saint who was qualified to speak with the country's upper echelons. Hands up. Don't move. At this time, many soldiers had already arrived and were quickly aiming at Xing Hui. The heavenly tome stone wall, Xing Hui did not seem to notice. He looked up and at the end of the cave, at the stone wall carved with a large number of mysterious words, or runes. These words and runes were densely packed and covered the entire cave, filling the interior of the cave with a mysterious and ancient aura. Damn it, there's a cave over there. Chase after it. Leave no one alive. I want to kill everyone in the Dongyang sword sect. Yi Qingsong's angry voice came from behind him. Yi Qingsong, the only one in the Yi family who can be considered powerful and influential is you, right? As long as you, Yi Qingsong, are dead, only the head of the investigation department and a businessman are left. They shouldn't be able to mobilize the military power. Xing Hui turned his head and his gaze fell on Yi Qingsong. Xing Hui, is it? Do you really think that I won't dare to kill you because you're from the Qing family? I'd like to see if the Qing family will fall out with me, a high-ranking official with real power, for a fourth-generation disciple. Yi Qingsong's face was faintly ferocious. Kill me? You won't have the chance. Xing Hui's eyes suddenly became incomparably fierce as he spoke. The next moment, a powerful and terrifying force suddenly burst out from his body. Kill! Fire! Fire! Shoot him for me. Those who block me will die. Xing Hui let out a long roar. One man and one sword, like a stream of light, frantically dodged the rain of bullets and stabbed toward Yi Qingsong. Bang bang bang, gunshots rang out. Xing Hui, who was focused on the necklace named Creation, did not notice that as the necklace named Creation was stained with his blood, his body was like a container, rapidly absorbing the purple gem on the necklace. At the same time, a special energy dissipated as the necklace Creation shattered, like a shock wave sweeping through the entire cave, and then, the runes on the stone walls of the cave that no one could understand quickly flashed, activated, and began to distort the void. On this day, a mysterious phenomenon appeared on Mount Dongyang. It was said that an immortal array was born, distorting the void and turning everything within a 10-mile radius into dust. There were hundreds of Jianghu people and hundreds of soldiers on Mount Dongyang. Except for a few martial Dao masters who sensed danger and fled as fast as they could before entering the Grand Master Hall of the Dongyang sword sect, no one was spared. They were all swallowed by the distorted space. For a time, the tragedy of Mount Dongyang became one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in the Jianghu, spreading far and wide. Chapter 2. The Lorraine Kingdom, one of the countries in the eastern wilderness. The Yunhuang city was the largest city in the Lorraine Kingdom and was named for its proximity to the Yunhuang mountain range. In a remote courtyard of the Zhuo family's property, Xing Hui slowly put down the book in his hand in a simple and elegant study. I've finally translated it. No wonder no one could read the ancient divine text on the heavenly book stone wall of the Eastern Sun Sword sect. It's because those words weren't from Earth. Ancient divine wilderness. Modern Tianhuang. The words on the heavenly book stone wall came from this world, the world called Tianhuang. My name is Dong Qian. I built my foundation at the age of 10, awakened my sword qi at the age of 20, and refined my sword aura at the age of 30. I felt that the lives of mortals are short, like mayflies in the water. No matter how great my martial arts are, I will eventually return to dust after 100 years. Since then, I have abandoned my sword and sealed my saber, traveling back and forth between famous mountains and great lakes in search of sacred beings. After more than 24 years, I received the inheritance of the Lord of Heaven, awakened the Hundun of the Divine Palace, and received the blessing of God. I condensed my sword qi in 60 years, formed my sword force in 100 years, formed my domain in 300 years, and shattered the vacuum in 1,000 years. Since then, I have roamed the heavens and lived for a long time. By chance, I entered the cave of the true god, June, and obtained a piece of divine jade, which is called creation. Unfortunately, I triggered the restriction of the divine palace, causing the heaven and earth to flip and the universe to reverse. Xing Hui finally understood the meaning of the words on the heavenly book stone wall of the Eastern Sun Sword sect after 3 days of reading and searching for information. It was an autobiography written by a powerful divine powers called Dong Qian. Apparently, he had activated the divine teleportation formation set up by Dong Qian due to the dissipation of energy when the divine jade creation formation shattered. He appeared in the eastern wilderness and was reborn in Zhuo Qingshu's body. All kinds of mysterious encounters were indescribably wonderful. Even though he had been reincarnated for 4 days, he was still amazed by the wonders of fate. Ningxi, Xing Hui whispered her name. No matter where he was on earth, he would find a way to find her. But now, he actually came to a strange world that he had never heard of before, Heaven Wasteland. How far was the distance between the two worlds? I will go back. Dongqian can go to Earth, so can I. As long as I find true God Jun's cave abode, I can borrow the power of the cave abode's divine formation to return to Earth. Xing Hui's tone was slow but heavy. This promise must be kept. Pa, the door opened. A pretty girl in a white dress stepped into the room. Behind her, a woman dressed as a maid entered with medicine in her hands. Xing Hui recognized this woman. Zhuo Yunqing was Chou Xing Hui's younger sister. She was a martial arts prodigy who had reached the 4th layer of the martial path at such a young age. She was one of the most outstanding disciples of the Zhuo clan's younger generation. 4 days were enough for Xing Hui to gather information about her. Drink the medicine. Zhuo Yunqing's tone was hostile. Xing Hui ignored the hostility in her voice and drank the medicine. Then, he circulated his blood qi according to the Dongyang sword sect's secret body tempering technique to digest the medicine and heal his injuries. I met Erisher Yudo on my way here. She has become a disciple of the Hunyuan heavenly sect. Seeing Xing Hui drink the medicine, Zhuo Yunqing snorted. Erisher Yudo. Xing Hui remembered this name. His injuries were indirectly caused by Erisher Yudo. Erisher Yudo was adopted by her father, Chou Xing Hui, when she was 10 years old. She was beautiful and delicate, and when she grew up, she became even more beautiful. Chou Xing Hui was extremely infatuated with her. In order to win her favor, he did not hesitate to give her his cultivation resources. 30 days ago, Erisher Yudo hinted that if he was willing to steal the Zhuo clan's token to become a disciple of the Hunyuan heavenly sect and give it to her, she would be willing to spend the rest of her life with him. Unexpectedly, when Chou Xing Hui gave the token to Erisher Yudo left without a trace. He waited bitterly for 10 days, but when he returned home, he was exposed. His father was furious and ordered him to be beaten 100 times before being chased out of the house. After being chased out of the Zhuo clan, he settled down in his courtyard in the northern part of the city to recuperate. He did not want the younger generation of the Zhuo clan to hold a grudge against him for losing the opportunity to enter the Hunyuan heavenly sect. 6 days ago, they ambushed him and severely injured him. He was unconscious for 2 days before dying, and Xing Hui was reborn. Understanding this, Xing Hui was indifferent. What's wrong? You're the ace flower protector, but instead of running over to flatter her, you're acting so indifferent. What's the reason for that? Mother told me to bring you the best medicine. Although your injuries have not fully healed, it's not like you can't walk or move. Zhuo Yunqing was unhappy. Although Xing Hui was the clan leader's son, his cultivation base was average and he was criticized by the clan elders. As a result, he had never been able to become the true owner of the token. Therefore, as long as the token was not lost, any member of the Zhuo clan could compete for the token to become a disciple of the Hunyuan heavenly sect. But now, because Xing Hui had stolen the token, such a great opportunity had been given to someone else. Xing Hui did not speak. He had not inherited the original Xing Hui's complete memories and only had some fragmented information. He needed to be careful with his words and actions. Have you changed your personality? Or do you regret it now? It's too late. Do you know how precious the token of an inner sect disciple of the Hunyuan heavenly sect is? My Qing family was able to stand tall in the cloud-desolate city and occupy many mineral resources. If not for my aunt, who was cultivating in the Hunyuan heavenly sect, causing others to fear us, I'm afraid that we would have been swallowed up by many powerful people one by one. However, because of my aunt, many powerful people are eyeing us covetously, but do not dare to act rashly. Seeing that Xing Hui did not speak, Zhuo Yunqing's attitude softened, but his complexion did not improve. At this moment, a voice sounded from the courtyard, "Is Xing Hui here?" Xing Hui did not respond, but Zhuo Yunqing was slightly taken aback. Then, he flew into a rage and shouted, "Erasure Yudo, you still dare to come? How dare you? Little sister Yunqing, you're also here." A voice sounded from outside the door. Then, two young girls walked into the room. The leader of the group was a woman wearing a checkered sky blue dress. Her skin was whiter than snow, and her eyes were as clear as water. Her fine black hair was draped over her shoulders, resting on her voluptuous chest, all the way to her waist, highlighting her slender waist. Her tall and slender figure made her even more elegant and luxurious, making others feel ashamed and not dare to profane her. As she stepped into the room, both Zhuo Yunqing and her adorable maidservant, Yu Qing, were overshadowed by her. She was like a fairy in a painting and a village girl in the forest, completely different. It was no wonder that Xing Hui was so infatuated with her. "Don't call me little sister Yunqing. Our Qing clan can't afford to have a relative like you," Zhuo Yunqing said with disgust. "Impudent. You're just unruly citizens of a remote and desolate city. It's already your great fortune that senior sister Yutong is willing to talk to you. How dare you be so rude to her?" The girl behind Erasure Yudo immediately shouted. However, Erasure Yudo waved her hand. "You can't be rude. The Zhuo clan has done me a favor. When I was young, I wandered the streets. Fortunately, the Zhuo clan's patriarch took me in and raised me. That's how I got to where I am today. Little sister Yunqing's words are nothing. You also know that our Zhuo clan has done you a favor. We saved your life, but this is how you repay us. You're trying your best to bewitch my brother Xing Hui and make him steal a Hunyuan Heaven Sect disciple token to ruin his future." Future? Erasure Yudo looked at Zhuo Yunqing and shook her head. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect is far from what you can imagine. As one of the 10 great sacred lands of the Eastern Wilderness, everyone who can enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect is a genius. Even the 3 great experts of our Cloud Desolate City's younger generation are inferior to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's outer sect disciples. Moreover, the competition between the inner and outer sect disciples in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect is extremely fierce, and many people have died. Believe me, with Xing Hui's cultivation talent, entering the Hunyuan Heaven Sect will only harm him. She tried her best to make her tone as sincere as possible as she said to Xing Hui, "It's true, Xing Hui. Believe me, I'm doing this for your own good." Chapter 3. For Xing Hui's sake. "So I have to thank you for lying to him?" Zhuo Yunqing sneered. "That's right. You," Zhuo Yunqing was furious. He pointed at Erasure Yudo and said, "If Xing Hui harmed him by going to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, then you didn't?" Erasure Yudo nodded again. "That's right. You poor villagers have no idea what kind of talent senior sister Yutong has." Senior sister's talent was tested to be superior. Su Karen couldn't help but speak up, but Erasure Yudo waved her hand and interrupted her. "Karen, you can't say anything about this. Twisting words and forcing logic. Erasure Yudo, I've never seen a woman as shameless as you in all my life." Lan Yutong glanced at the enraged Zhuo Yunqing. Her fair, jade-like face was filled with faint disappointment. "Sister Yunqing, why must you do this? Why can't you understand my good intentions?" "Tui. Good intentions? Your words make me want to vomit. The Zhuo family's vision and knowledge are limited to the Cloud Wilderness. At best, they can break out of the Cloud Wilderness and look at the Lorraine Kingdom. A prominent kingdom is already the limit of what you and the Zhuo family can see. But I'm different from you. I started cultivating at the age of 10, built my foundation at the age of 11, tempered my bones at the age of 12, changed my tendons at the age of 13, cleansed my marrow at the age of 14, and refined my organs at the age of 16. I only need one more step to reach the last step before I awaken my chi and reach the blood transformation stage. I'll become a martial grandmaster who can defeat an army of thousands. My stage is above the 9 heavens, and I'm destined to be glorious and live a long life. If you knew this, why didn't you give me the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's disciple token earlier? Why did you make me spend so much effort and make everyone unhappy? Right now, I, Erashur Yuto, am willing to renew our friendship. With me, an inner disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, protecting you, the Zhuo family will have a meteoric rise in the future. Speaking of this, Erashur Yuto sighed. If Tsing Hui goes to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, he will only die a tragic death. If I go in his place, I will be able to succeed and make a name for myself, so why not? Why can't you understand such a simple principle? You, ungrateful wretch. Do you think you're in the right after stealing from the Zhuo family? Why would our Zhuo family need the protection of an ingrate like you? Get out. I don't want to see you again. Zhuo Yunqing said angrily as she pointed at the door. If not for the fact that she knew she was no match for Erashur Yuto, she would have already attacked. You have really disappointed me. Erashur Yuto said, since you insist on drawing a clear line between us, then I can't force you. However, even if you can't be benevolent, I can't be unjust. This is a marrow cleansing pill I obtained from the sect for Tsing Hui. Once he reaches the perfect tendon transformation stage, he can use this pill to cleanse his marrow. This pill is priceless in the Lorraine Kingdom. Treat it as my apology for taking away the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's token. Zhuo Yunqing replied with gritted teeth, scram. Erashur Yuto didn't say anything. Instead, her gaze fell on Tsing Hui. Leave the pill. Tsing Hui said. Tsing Hui, you, Zhuo Yunqing panted in anger. I need this. Yes, a marrow cleansing pill is clearly more suitable for you than a Hunyuan Heaven Sect disciple token. Tsing Hui, I'm very happy that you can understand this. Erashur Yuto smiled faintly. She had brought Su Karen with her to deal with Cho Tsing Hui's harassment. She didn't want to, she didn't need to. Had Cho Tsing Hui's personality changed? You can leave. Tsing Hui's tone was indifferent. However, Erashur Yuto could understand Tsing Hui's indifference. Anyone would be disheartened if they encountered such a situation. Tsing Hui, I understand your feelings for me back then, and I'm very grateful for what you've done for me over the years. However, my future is in the entire Eastern Wilderness. Now that I've joined the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, I'm bound to shine like a phoenix in the 9 heavens. If you really love me, you should understand me, support me, and silently watch over me from behind and encourage me. This is true love, Tsing Hui frowned. Tsing Hui, don't hate me. Finally. I hope you can be happy. Erashur Yuto made herself sound sincere. Since the matter had been settled, she didn't want to stay any longer. She put down the pill and turned to leave. Tsing Hui, you're infuriating. You want what that woman gave you? You're so spineless. If I knew you were like this, I would have let Zhuo Fengyun and Zhuo Fenglei beat you to death. Tsing Hui glanced at Zhuo Yunqing. If you don't like it, you can leave. You, Zhuo Yunqing was about to speak when a figure quickly arrived at the remote courtyard. Miss? First young master. It's the second steward. Zhuo Yunqing was surprised to see the middle-aged man. Although it had been a month, his father still seemed to be angry. Why would he send the second steward to Tsing Hui's courtyard? Miss, did Erashur Yuto come by just now? She did. She said she wanted to repay a debt of gratitude, but her tone was too disgusting. I chased her away. What's going on? Tell me. Zhuo Yunqing immediately summarized the events that had just transpired. You took her marrow cleansing pill. I'm too late. When the middle-aged man heard that, he looked at Qing Su and immediately sighed. What's wrong? A month ago, the master sent a message to Miss Fei, telling her that the disciple token she requested from the family had been swindled. Miss Fei tried her best to stop them, but Erasure Yudo was too talented and had caught the eye of an elder. Miss Fei was powerless to stop her, so she could only make things difficult for her. She said that Erasure Yudo was adopted by the master and that he owed her a great debt of gratitude, but she had committed such a crime. But we didn't expect that Erasure Yudo would willingly come to the Zhuo family and promise to protect the Zhuo family to repay our kindness. Unfortunately, by the time we received the news, it was already too late. Miss Fei had promised to protect the Zhuo family, but you rejected her. Moreover, the marrow cleansing pill she gave us was also accepted by the first young master, so we're even now, the second steward frowned. That woman is too scheming. Miss Fei will definitely be disappointed in the Zhuo family after this incident. I'm afraid that she won't be able to obtain a token from the Hunyuan Heaven sect in the future. Zhuo Yunqing was dazed when he heard this. Things are so serious. Our Zhuo family won't be able to send any more disciples to the Hunyuan Heaven sect? The second steward glanced at the silent Xing Hui. The first young master's talent isn't bad, and he scored above average during the test. That's why Miss Fei gave the Zhuo family an inner court disciple token, but in recent years, the first young master has secretly given many resources to Erasure Yudo, causing her cultivation to slow down. The master didn't want to embarrass Miss Fei, and the clan's grand elders prevented him from bringing up the matter of sending the first young master to the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Who would have thought that such a great opportunity would benefit someone else? When he finished speaking, he looked at Xing Hui with eyes full of disappointment. How could this be? Where's my aunt? Is she not going to do anything? The master won't have the face to ask Miss Fei for help after this incident. Sigh, I have to return as soon as possible and report this to the master. The second steward glanced coldly at Xing Hui. First young master, this might be the last time I'll call you that, take care of yourself. Zhuo Yunqing was furious. He glared at Qing Su, so this is the woman you've taken a fancy to? Hypocritical, disgusting, scheming, and ungrateful. It's fortunate that father was discerning back then and didn't agree to the two of you getting married. He followed the second steward. I'll go too. The two masters and one servant quickly left the courtyard. The courtyard quieted down once more. Xing Hui didn't have a direct impression of the severity of the matter. The Hunyuan Heaven sect, a large-scale cultivation sect of this world. After a while, he flipped through the fragmented memories in his mind and some books in the study. Soon, he had a better understanding of this world's cultivation methods. Foundation establishment, bone tempering, tendon transformation, marrow cleansing, viscera tempering, and blood transformation. The sixth level of the mortal realm could allow one to roam freely in the mortal world. The books only recorded the sixth level of the immortal realm, the awakening realm. Once awakened, one's abilities would be limitless, and even the Lorraine Kingdom's king would have to treat them with respect. The awakening realm, Dongqian's sword qi awakening at the age of 20 referred to this realm. Other than that, he also mentioned the 5 realms of sword aura, essence condensation, sword force, domain, and crushing vacuum. He didn't know the meaning of these realms. Xing Hui looked at it for a while and focused on the chaos technique that he had translated. The heavenly book stone wall of the Dongyang sword sect had Dongqian's legends carved on it. Other than that, there was a technique that could open the chaos. Dongqian had soared to the heavens because of the chaos temple. If he wanted to go to earth like Dongqian, he had to go to the chaos temple. Chaos. Xing Hui studied the technique to open the chaos temple. It wasn't difficult, he immediately focused and activated the technique to open the chaos temple. Chapter 4. Heaven and earth were still in chaos. In a trance, Xing Hui felt as though his soul had returned to chaos. Endless mysteries were born in his heart. All of a sudden, his spirit leaped forward, and he had already appeared in a room paved with white jade. Everything around him was a vast expanse of white. At the same time, a message was injected into his mind. Chaos Temple, where chaos resides. Those who have obtained any Taoist rhyme can enter the temple and receive the blessing of chaos. Xing Hui silently received the message from the Chaos Temple. Soon, a strange look appeared on his face. Interface. Xing Hui said without thinking. Soon, an interface appeared in front of him. Dong Qian. Chaos level, level 20 required Taoist rhyme, 12100 cultivation level, crushing vacuum attack level, 158, defense level, 115, speed level, 151, spirit level, 159. A simple interface. There were no treasures to exchange. You have noticed that the chaos technique is not compatible with your spirit. Please choose to leave or inherit. A clear voice echoed in Xing Hui's ears. However, it seemed like he was the only one who could hear it. Inherit. Inherit what Qian left behind in the Chaos Temple. Xing Hui mumbled to himself. It seemed like Dong Qian was referring to these when he said, I will pass down my chaos to the next generation. Even his own chaos power was probably inherited from that heavenly lord. Xing Hui looked at the interface. As he did not inherit it, he could not do anything. He could only flip through most of the items that could not be used or activated. Chaos level 20. This was rather interesting. When the accumulated Taoist rhyme reached the required number, the chaos level would increase. In the 5th and 10th levels, new special abilities would appear. These abilities were varied and had all sorts of strange effects. Dong Qian's Chaos Level 20 had 10 special abilities and 10 special abilities. 6 of them were basic abilities, while the other 4 were new special abilities after the Chaos level increased. The 6 basic special effects were Recovery Enhancement, Comprehension Enhancement, Luck Enhancement, Talent Enhancement, Personal Space Opening, and Appraisal. The 4 new special effects were hard to imagine. They were Advancement Skill, which could upgrade equipment and pills by 1 level, Divine Protection Skill, which could forcefully refine pills that involved probability, Resurrection Skill, which could bring the dead back to life, and Holy Skill, which could temporarily increase one's cultivation by 1 level. Recovery Enhancement, Comprehension, and Luck were passive abilities. Advancement Skill, Divine Protection Skill, Resurrection, Appraisal, and Divine Protection Skill were active abilities. The empty space where Qing Su was right now was the personal space left behind by Dong Qian. Dong Qian's Chaos Level 20 was Recovery Enhancement, Comprehension Enhancement, Golden Rock Bloodline Talent, Sword Dao Talent, Personal Space, Advancement Skill, Appraisal, and Resurrection Skill. Among the passive abilities, Comprehension Level 8, Recovery Level 3, Golden Rock Bloodline Level 2, Sword Dao Talent Level 1, Personal Space Level 1, Advancement Skill Level 2, Appraisal Skill Level 2, and Resurrection Skill Level 1. Qing Su took a closer look. The Tier 1 resurrection had a cooldown of 100 years, which was basically equivalent to resurrecting a person every 100 years. It was basically useless. Meanwhile, the Tier 2 promotion had a cooldown of a year, which could upgrade equipment below Tier 2 by 1 tier. On the other hand, Appraisal only had a cooldown of 24 hours, which showed that different skills had different cooldowns. Dong Qian was able to cultivate Vacuum Crush because of the Chaos Temple's passive effect. Level 8 Comprehension Enhancement. Xing Hui took a look. He had not inherited these yet. He could not use them. He did not want to waste time. Inherit. Inheriting will reduce chaos level by half. Do you want to continue? Half. Inherit. Please select the item to keep. Xing Hui took a look at the privileges. He could inherit chaos level 10. Recovery Enhancement Level 1, Personal Space Level 1, Comprehension Enhancement Level 4. The next 4 options, Xing Hui was silent for a moment. The strong would get stronger. His talent was in swordsmanship. In that case, his Sword Dao talent level 2. As for the last 2 options, Xing Hui chose Divine Skill and Appraisal Skill. Appraisal Skill could help him know his enemy. Divine Skill could increase his cultivation level by 1 level at a critical moment. It could be used in a life and death battle. Buzz buzz. As Tsing Hui chose to inherit, a slight tremor suddenly swept through his body. When the shock dispersed, he clearly felt that his thoughts had become clearer, and his comprehension of swordsmanship had improved as well. There were even two secret techniques faintly in his mind. Once he activated them, one would allow him to see through everything, and the other would allow him to receive the support of chaotic divine energy, causing his cultivation to skyrocket. Amazing! Tsing Hui muttered to himself. At the same time, he took a look at his attributes. Tsing Hui. Chaos level, level 10 recovery level 1, comprehension level 4, space level 1, sword Dao talent level 2, divine skill level 1, appraisal skill level 1. Required Daoist rhymes, 6/100 cultivation level, tendon changing attack level, 10, defense level, 10, speed level, 10, spirit level, 31-inch discovered Dao item. Do you want to integrate it? Just as Tsing Hui was about to stop the chaos technique and leave, the chaos temple's voice sounded. Dao item can only be nurtured by top-notch treasures. It contains Daoist rhymes and is extremely difficult to obtain. Do I have one? Tsing Hui looked at it for a moment. Following the chaos temple's guidance, he focused his attention on his sea of consciousness. There was a piece of divine jade. The divine jade was like an inanimate object, but it was absorbing an unknown aura from the outside world. It was slowly condensing to repair itself. The Daoist rhymes that the Chaos Temple was referring to were the unknown aura that the divine jade had absorbed over the past few days. This divine jade was left behind by Ningxi. It is also the creation divine jade that Dongqian obtained from the true god Jun's cave abode. Tsing Hui did not understand why this piece of divine jade would reside in his sea of consciousness. He could not figure it out. Let's not think about it for now. If transmigration and reincarnation could happen, how could it not happen? For Daoist rhymes, Tsing Hui looked at it for a moment and chose to integrate it. Instantly, the divine jade's creation divine jade dimmed. The unknown aura that had accumulated over the past 4 days dissipated. Tsing Hui's Daoist rhymes increased by 4 points. After integrating all the unknown aura, the creation divine jade paused for a moment. Then, it slowly absorbed the unknown aura from an unknown source. At this rate, in another 4 days, it should be able to condense the same amount of Daoist rhymes. For days, Tsing Hui's reaction was extremely fast. Hadn't it been 4 days since he came to this world? 4 days, 4 Daoist rhymes. 1 Dao per day. If this divine jade was so magical, why had Dongqian not mentioned it before? Or Dongqian did not activate the creation divine jade and thus did not know? Tsing Hui looked at the creation divine jade in his sea of consciousness. After a long time, he retracted his consciousness. If he could not figure it out, he would not think about it. It was a good thing to have such an unexpected gain. 1 Dao rhyme per day. In another 94 days, the level of chaos would increase again. After that, every 100 days, the level of chaos would increase by 1. After retracting his consciousness, Tsing Hui stopped visualizing the Chaos Divine Palace. Instantly, the Chaos Divine Palace shook and dissipated, returning to Mount Sumeru. As for him, he opened his eyes again. The moment he opened his eyes, his body was filled with qi and blood. The feeling of energy surged into his heart. The injuries on his body that had already recovered were instantly healed. This, special effect, recovery. My injuries are all healed. Should I try to see if I can recover the swordsmanship that belonged to me, Sword Saint Tsing Hui? Chapter 5. In the courtyard, Tsing Hui held his sword as it flashed with sword light. By chance, he saw Jiang Ningxi practicing the sword and was shocked by her miraculous performance. He followed her into the Dongyang sword sect to cultivate for 6 years. Due to his outstanding talent and perception, he surpassed her and became a martial Dao master before Jiang Ningxi. Furthermore, because he defeated 10 experts from China with a single sword, he was crowned as the sword sage and became an outstanding talent among the younger generation of the pugilistic world. Now that he was cultivating swordsmanship again, and the Chaos Shrine had increased his perception by 4 levels. With his talent in swordsmanship, many swordsmanship became easy for him. Often, he would understand the mysteries of swordsmanship that he couldn't comprehend. Whoosh! 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 The sharp sword in Xing Hui's hand turned into a dazzling sword shadow. The sword moved with the wind, and the wind followed the sword. In his hands, the high-grade Shaoyang sword technique was as profound as a peerless sword technique. After a moment, he understood something and retracted his sword. After standing in silence for an hour, a soft rumble came from his body. The blood in his body also emitted a sound similar to flowing water. The sound gradually became louder and clearer. As Xing Hui's body suddenly trembled, a force seemed to burst out from his bone marrow. Marrow cleansing, success. Without the help of the marrow cleansing pill, there was no joy on Xing Hui's face when he broke through to the marrow cleansing realm. He was a martial Dao master in China, and the realm of a martial Dao master was similar to the marrow cleansing realm of this world. It was even slightly stronger. With the enhanced perception of 4 levels, it wasn't surprising that he could push his body from the late stage of the tendon transformation realm to the marrow cleansing realm by 2 small realms. Following that, he focused and quietly comprehended the cultivation system of this world. Currently, his cultivation had reached the marrow cleansing realm, the 4th stage of the mortal realm. After that, there were still the viscera refinement and blood transformation realms. After completing these 2 realms, his body's potential would be unleashed to the extreme. He needed to awaken his bloodline talent and activate his true qi to possess extraordinary powers. In the Cloud Desolate City and even the Lorraine Kingdom, those at the marrow cleansing realm could be considered experts. As for those at the viscera refinement realm, they could be called elders or doyens in any family or faction. Ordinary sect masters of the pugilistic world were also at this realm. As for those at the blood transformation realm, they were called grandmasters. Their strength was tyrannical, and it was not difficult for them to split open the land and be conferred the title of marquis. The Zhuo family was the number 1 family in the Cloud Desolate City, but they did not have a new grandmaster in charge. They completely relied on Naylan Fei, who was in the Hunyuan Heaven sect, to intimidate the other forces in the Cloud Desolate City. The limits of the human body. In the Jianghu of China, the martial Dao master is also known as the limits of the human body. Beyond that is the end of the path of cultivation. One needs to break through their own limits, transcend mortality, and ascend to the realm of martial sage. In Xing Hui's mind, the Eastern Sun Sword Manual of the Eastern Sun Sword sect and the longevity formula of the Qing clan flashed across his mind. The enhancement of Stage 4 enlightenment allowed him to quickly distinguish the pros and cons of the 2 cultivation techniques. In terms of continuity, the longevity formula was better than the Eastern Sun Sword Manual. In addition, this body had cultivated the longevity formula since young, so it was more suitable for the longevity formula. As for the Eastern Sun Sword Manual, he could only choose some special techniques to supplement it. Oh. While Xing Hui was slightly distracted, he unexpectedly realized that the energy and stamina he had expended to break through to the marrow cleansing realm had recovered quite a bit. Could it be, apart from healing injuries, the recovery characteristic could also restore stamina and energy? Tap! Tap! Just as Xing Hui was about to enter the Chaos Temple to ponder over it, a series of hurried footsteps quickly sounded from outside the courtyard. Immediately after, Zhuo Yunqing, who had been away for half a day, rushed into the courtyard. Xing Hui, quickly leave the Cloud Desolate City and seek refuge with my aunt in the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Father already knows about what happened this morning. In addition to the pressure from the clan's elders, Father had no choice but to order someone to capture you. After a trial, your ancestral records will be removed. This is not just a simple expulsion from the family. Once your ancestral records are removed, you will no longer be a member of our Zhuo family. When that time comes, my ancestral records will be removed. Xing Hui's expression did not change much. After all, he was not the original Chou Xing Hui. He did not have much affection for the Zhuo family. Removing his ancestral records would not affect him in any way. What are you still standing there for? Quickly pack your things and go to the Hunyuan Heaven sect immediately. Let my aunt plead on your behalf. If she asks, father and the clan elders will not dare to disobey. You can even hide at my aunt's place as a servant for a few years and return after you have cultivated your skills. Upon seeing the indifferent Xing Hui, Zhuo Yunqing immediately turned anxious and pulled him into the courtyard. Since I can't stay in the cloud-desolate city any longer, I won't stay for the time being. There's nothing to pack anyway, Xing Hui said. With his marrow-cleansing realm cultivation, he could live an easy life anywhere in the Lorraine Kingdom. He did not need to worry about his livelihood. Yes, time is of the essence. It's fine if you don't pack. I have 300 taels of silver in my hand. I've saved them all over the years. Take them and use them for your travel expenses. Although Zhuo Yunqing had previously mocked and ridiculed Xing Hui, they were still from the same mother. Her scolding was because she expected better from him. Now that Xing Hui was in danger, it was because of her true feelings. There's no need. I told you to take it, so just take it. Cut the crap. Zhuo Yunqing stuffed the silver into Xing Hui's arms and pulled him along. Let's go quickly. It will be too late when the clan members arrive. With that said, she pulled him out of the courtyard. However, just as the two of them arrived outside the courtyard, 3 people intercepted them at the intersection. When they saw the two of them, they sneered from afar. Sister Yunqing, Xing Hui, where are the two of you going? The clan elders asked me to bring you back. Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, Zhuo Xiangdong, Zhuo Yunqing's expression changed at the sight of the 3 people. Xing Hui, leave quickly. You can't let them strip you of your identity. I'll stop them. You think too highly of yourself if you stop me, Sister Yunqing. You've only reached the marrow-cleansing realm less than a year ago, right? As for me, I've been in the marrow-cleansing realm for 3 years and even have a chance of refining my organs. What right do you have to stop me? The leader of the 3, Zhuo Fengyun, sneered. He then turned to Xing Hui with hatred in his eyes and gritted his teeth. I'm the #1 expert of the Zhuo family's younger generation. If you hadn't stolen the token, I would have been the one to become a disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. It's all because of you. You've ruined my opportunity and cut off my vast future. Xing Hui, previously, I only dared to secretly punish you because you were the clan leader's son. I didn't dare to kill you, but you'll soon be stripped of your identity. You'll no longer be a member of the Zhuo family. When that time comes, I'll kill you. Xing Hui, leave quickly. Zhuo Yunqing hurriedly shouted when he heard the hatred in Zhuo Fengyun's voice. Leave. Do you think you can leave? Catch him. A sinister smile surfaced in Zhuo Fengyun's eyes as he waved his hand at Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangdong. Clang! Just as Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangdong were about to charge at Xing Hui, Zhuo Yunqing unsheathed her sword. Stop right there. When Zhuo Fengyun saw that Zhuo Yunqing dared to block them with her sword, a trace of delight flashed across his eyes. His sharp sword also left its sheath. Zhuo Yunqing, how dare you draw your sword against your own clan? Even if I heavily injure you, it'll be self-defense. Even your father won't be able to protect you. Die. Xing Hui, I'll stop them. Leave quickly. Zhuo Yunqing shouted as she brazenly charged at Zhuo Fengyun. However, contrary to Zhuo Yunqing's expectations, Zhuo Qingxiu didn't take advantage of the fact that she was blocking Zhuo Fengyun and the others to leave. Instead, he stepped forward and asked, were you the one who injured me 4 days ago? Chapter 6. On the main street not far from the alley where Xing Hui lived, the famous young genius of the cloud-desolate city, Jin Go, was entertaining Erasure Yudo. Accompanying him were Jin Go's sister Jin Lan, the Feng family's first young master Feng Yu, the second young Miss Feng Long, and the Feng family's second young master Feng Tsuegui. A month ago, Jin Go, Fang Yu, and Feng Suegue were the most outstanding young geniuses of the cloud-desolate city, just like Erasure Yudo. At this very moment, the three of them were still dominating a mortal city, but Erasure Yudo had already become a disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, one of the 10 great sacred sects of the Tianhuang continent. She was on equal footing with the patriarchs and elders of the Jin, Fang, and Feng families behind them. A group of 7 people sat in a restaurant and drank. The conflict in the alley naturally attracted the attention of some people. Isn't that the Zhuo family? Fang Long curiously glanced in that direction. The Zhuo family's presentable Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, and Zhuo Yunqing are all here. And that useless Zhuo family's eldest son, Chou Tsinghui. At the mention of Chou Tsinghui, Fang Long secretly glanced at Erasure Yudo. Erasure Yudo had relied on Chou Tsinghui's infatuation with her to climb up the ranks and become a direct disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Chou Tsinghui was useless because he had given all his cultivation resources to Erasure Yudo. Without resources, he was still able to reach the tendon's transformation stage at the age of 22. It was clear that his talent was extraordinary. However, in front of Erasure Yudo, the number 1 genius of the cloud-desolate region who could be called a grandmaster, he seemed to fade into the crowd. If it weren't for their relationship with the Hunyuan Heaven sect, the Zhuo family wouldn't even be considered anything. How could the Zhuo family have a chance to occupy the high-quality mines and resources outside the city? Although they have Zhuo Fengyun among the younger generation, they are still far from being able to rise to prominence. Jin Go flicked the non-existent dust off his sleeves and said indifferently. Zhuo Fengyun has reached the marrow cleansing realm, but with his progress, it's unknown how long it will take for him to reach the organs refinement realm. He naturally can't compare to brother Jin Go, who has already tempered 3 of his organs. Feng Cun Gui smiled. I've only tempered 3 of my organs, but Miss Yutong has already completed the organs refinement stage. She only needs to find an opportunity to awaken her bloodline and refine her essence blood. Compared to Miss Yutong, my insignificant achievements are not worth mentioning. Young Master Jin Go is only 26 years old and has already reached the organs refinement stage. Such strength can be considered outstanding even in the Hunyuan Heaven sect's outer sect. If young Master Jin Go is fortunate enough to enter the Hunyuan Heaven sect and pass the outer sect assessment, you may be able to create a bright future for yourself. Erasure Yuto's pretty little face carried a refreshing smile. Her words also made one feel incomparably comfortable. The Hunyuan Heaven sect recruits disciples once every 5 years, and any young practitioner under the age of 30 can enter. The next time will be a year later, right? At that time, I will definitely go. I don't hope to become an inner sect disciple or even an elder's personal disciple like Miss Yutong, but I must obtain an outer sect disciple spot. Jin Go's eyes flickered with confidence. Lan Yutong smiled faintly. Su Ren looked him up and down a few times. With your strength, you're only passable as an outer court disciple. But if you want to become an inner court disciple, you either have outstanding cultivation talent, or you've cultivated your viscera and changed your blood before the age of 30. Otherwise, if you miss this opportunity, you'll have no hope of stepping into the inner court in this lifetime. They're fighting. Jean Lan's gaze suddenly fell on the alley. The Zhuo family doesn't have much ability to outsiders and only rely on Naylan Fei's name to swindle people. But when it comes to internal strife, it is said that the elders and clan leader of the family scheme against each other every day. If the family is not united, how can there be any development? Fang Yu said disdainfully. Without a capable blood transformation grandmaster overseeing the situation, they naturally have their own factions. Jin Go's expression was indifferent, and his gaze fell on Tsinghui, who was holding a sword. It seems that Chou Tsinghui wants to fight. Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, and Zhuo Xiangyang. Except for Zhuo Xiangyang, who can he beat? 4 days ago, Zhuo Fenglei taught him a lesson. This Chou Tsinghui is the legitimate son of the Zhuo family. I have never really seen him fight. How about we go down and join in the fun? Fang Yu said. That's what I was thinking. Feng Cun Gui laughed. A guest should follow the host's wishes. Erasure Yudo nodded slightly. The person who injured me 4 days ago was you? Yes, it was me. What, Cho Tsing-hui, you seem to be a little unconvinced. If you're not convinced, then hit me. Zhuo Fenglei stepped forward and stared at Cho Tsing-hui, his eyes full of provocation. You're not here to take me to the family, are you? You're just saying this to force us and then attack us on the grounds of self-defense? Tsing Hui's words made Zhuo Yunqing slightly stunned, and then her face suddenly turned ugly. Her father Zhuo Shiri was the patriarch of the Zhuo family, and Cho Tsing-hui was the legitimate son of the patriarch. If the family really wanted to arrest him, at least the law enforcement elders would come in person. Why would they let 3 juniors come forward? She was too anxious just now, and for a moment, she was careless and took the initiative to attack, giving them a reason to attack. You're quite quick-witted. I thought you were an idiot who was immersed in women's charms. However, even if you understand our purpose, so what? Don't tell me you dare to. Pa! Before Zhuo Fenglei could finish his provocative words, Tsing Hui had already attacked. With a slight flip of the sword in his hand, he slapped Zhuo Fenglei's left cheek at an inconceivable angle and speed. The tremendous force sent him flying, and he crashed to the ground in an instant. Before he could get up, he opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of broken teeth mixed with fresh blood. You. Zhuo Fenglei was dazed by Tsing Hui's strike. Although he had provoked him verbally, he had been carefully guarding against Tsing Hui's angry sneak attack. However, when Tsing Hui really struck him with the sword, he couldn't react at all. He could only watch as he was sent flying. However, he only treated it as a moment of carelessness, allowing him to suffer such humiliation. His teeth were shattered by the green ruin's sword. He immediately crawled to his feet and roared out furiously, "You bastard, I'm going to kill you," whoosh. Tsing Hui suddenly moved forward, and the sharp sword in his hand struck again at an unbelievable angle. Before Zhuo Fenglei could finish his words, he was hit by the sharp sword again. Pa! Zhuo Fenglei, who had just gotten up, was hit on the right cheek again. The huge force sent him crashing to the ground again, and blood filled his mouth. Continue. I'd like to see if ivory can come out of your filthy mouth. Tsing Hui stood in front of Zhuo Fenglei and said calmly. You, Zhuo Xiangyang, what are you waiting for? Both of you, attack together. On one side, Zhuo Fengyun immediately roared out furiously when he saw how pathetic Zhuo Fenglei was, being knocked to the ground by the 2 strikes of the green ruin's sword. Zhuo Xiangyang quivered and suddenly came to his senses. He unsheathed the sword in his hand and said, Tsing Hui, how dare you do such a cruel thing to a fellow tribesman? Pa! Tsing Hui suddenly turned around, and the sharp sword in his hand struck out at a 180-degree angle. Although Zhuo Xiangyang could clearly see the trajectory of the sword, he could only watch helplessly as the sword struck him. He immediately followed in Zhuo Fenglei's footsteps and was sent flying back. He spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with shattered teeth. Your strength has entered your bone marrow. You have cultivated to the marrow-cleansing realm. At that moment, Zhuo Fengyun finally looked at Tsing Hui seriously. From his performance, he could immediately tell his true strength. Tsing Hui ignored Zhuo Fengyun. Instead, he stared at Zhuo Fenglei, whose eyes were filled with fear. Get up. Continue. Chapter 7. Tsing Hui has broken through to the marrow-cleansing stage. Fang Yu, who had just come downstairs, was surprised to see Tsing Hui easily defeat Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangyang. What's so strange about that? In order to repay the Zhuo clan's patriarch for raising her, senior sister specially asked for a marrow-cleansing pill and gave it to Tsing Hui to settle the score. With a pill personally refined by an elder of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, even a pig can reach the marrow-cleansing stage, let alone a person. The marrow-cleansing pill is such a rare treasure. No wonder he can break through to the marrow-cleansing stage. I didn't expect Miss Yutong to have such a treasure. Jean Go's eyes glowed. Su Karen glanced at him as if he was looking at a country bumpkin. Including the Lorraine Kingdom, more than 90% of the precious pills in the 24 countries were distributed by the Hunyuan Heaven sect. Elder Zhuri has awakened the flame bird bloodline, cultivated the vermilion bird true technique, and obtained the essence of the profound flame. He is proficient in the Tao of alchemy. As his disciple, senior sister Yutong can easily ask for the more precious 5 Qi origin pill and essence dragon pill, let alone the marrow cleansing pill. An elder skilled in the Tao of alchemy, Jin Go, who wanted to curry favor with Erisher Yutong, a disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, inwardly sucked in a breath of cold air. Cho Tsing Hui's sword skills are exquisite. Without the advantage of cultivation, Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangyang can't defeat Cho Tsing Hui. Feng Kugi was surprised. He didn't know Tsing Hui had such ability. Jin Go recalled that Erisher Yutong and the Zhuo clan had fallen out. In the past month, the Zhuo clan had slandered her name. Presumably, Erisher Yutong was unhappy. She had received the Zhuo clan's favor in the past, so it wasn't appropriate for her to do anything to avoid being called ungrateful. However, they, Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangyang, have some friendship with us. Now that they're in trouble, I'll go up and see if I can help. Jin Go said with a smile and stepped forward. Fang Yu was slightly startled, but he immediately understood Jin Go's intention. I was drinking with Zhuo Fengyun 3 days ago. I'll go join in the fun. Immediately, the two of them walked quickly toward Zhuo Fengyun. They were dozens of meters away from him when they spoke first. Zhuo Fengyun, are you in trouble? Do you need my help? Zhuo Fengyun's eyes lit up when he saw Jin Wu and Fang Yu. He glanced past the two of them and Lan Yutong, who had appeared at the entrance of the alleyway. He immediately understood why the two of them were willing to help. He immediately said, "You've come at just the right time. This kid has committed a great crime. We were just about to capture him and bring him back to the clan for the elders to deal with, but we never thought his cultivation would suddenly increase. We're actually unable to do anything to him right now. Please help me capture him. I, Zhuo Fengyun, will be eternally grateful." Zhuo Fengyun, you dare to work with outsiders to humiliate our Zhuo clan. Zhuo Fengyun, who was standing in front of Zhuo Fengyun, rebuked angrily. Zhuo clan? Zhuo Fengyun glanced at Tsing Hui. What I see is not a member of our Zhuo clan, but a criminal whose ancestral records have already been expunged. We need to capture him and bring him to be judged. Even though we don't know what happened, since brother Zhuo Fengyun is in trouble, as friends, let's take care of him first. Brother Jin Go, rest at the side. I alone am enough to deal with a mere Cho Tsing Hui. Fang Yu laughed loudly. Eager to show off, he instantly pounced on Tsing Hui. I heard that you are the eldest son of the Zhuo clan's direct line of descent. Let me see how capable you, the successor of the Zhuo clan's next generation, are. Take my 12 forms of the roaming dragon. Tsing Hui, be careful. Fang Yu's strength has already reached the bone marrow 3 years ago. The 12 forms of the roaming dragon is a superior battle technique. It's even stronger than our Zhuo clan's greenwood sword art. Hurry up and leave, Zhuo Yunqing hurriedly shouted. Leave? There are only 2 exits in this alley. Where do you plan to go? Little Zhuo girl, I think you and your brother should obediently follow Zhuo Fengyun and the other 2 back home to receive your punishment. Jin Go chuckled and moved to block Tsing Hui's escape route. If Tsing Hui really wanted to escape, he would have to pass through this viscera refining expert. Just as Zhuo Yunqing was feeling shocked, angry, and anxious, a familiar voice resounded in the air above the small alley. Pa! Using the 12 forms of the roaming dragon, Yu Fang's outcome was no different from that of Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangyang. He was directly sent flying by Tsing Hui's sword. His body flew back at a speed no slower than when he had left and crashed to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. That's it? Tsing Hui glanced at Yu Fang. That gaze, it was as if he was speechless at Yu Fang's eagerness to jump up and be beaten up. Yu Fang's face instantly turned blood red. Being sent flying in front of Erisher Yuto, Jin Lan, and even his sister Fang Long, and being hit on the cheek in such a humiliating manner, Yu Fang was so embarrassed that he almost went crazy. Bastard, I'm going to kill you. Clang. The sword hanging at his waist was suddenly unsheathed. The roaming dragon sword technique, which contained a biting cold killing intent, suddenly exploded from his hand. It swept up an eerie chill and stabbed towards Tsing Hui's heart. Seeing this, Jin Go's eyes flashed, but he did not stop it. Instead, he stared at Tsing Hui with a serious expression, waiting to see how he would react. Again and again. Again and again. Even though Jin Go had looked down on Tsing Hui before, he was also full of caution at this moment. Swords are not used like this, Tsing Hui said calmly. 4th level comprehension and 2nd level sword talent. This caused Zhuo Fenglei, Zhuo Xiangyang, and even Fang Yu's swordsmanship, which was not bad, to be full of flaws in front of him. He did not even need to test the waters. When Fang Yu's sword was stabbing towards his heart, the sharp sword in his hand had already blocked it. Bang! The swords clashed. Tsing Hui's right hand shook slightly, and with the help of the rebounding force, the sword in his hand blocked the next change of Fang Yu's roaming dragon sword technique. Along with the sound of the swords clashing for the second time, Fang Yu's roaming dragon sword technique was exhausted. On the other hand, Tsing Hui took advantage of the rebounding force when he blocked the sword to turn the tip of his sword, and the cold gleaming sword once again slapped Fang Yu's face, making close contact with his right cheek that had not yet swollen. Pa! As usual. The young master of the Fang family was once again slapped away and fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of broken teeth mixed with blood. This time, the young master of the Fang family was awakened. The same result twice in a row, coupled with the burning pain on both sides of his face, reminded him of the fact that the gap between him and Tsing Hui was too big. Thinking of his clamor just now and how he was defeated by Tsing Hui in front of Erasure Yudo and the others, Fang Yu wished he could tear a hole in the ground and crawl into it. After knocking away Fang Yu, Tsing Hui indifferently came to Zhuo Fenglei. Suddenly, Zhuo Fenglei shouted in horror, "What do you want to do?" "Let me tell you, my grandfather is one of the elders in the family, in charge of the family." "Ah! Chi!" Zhuo Fenglei was halfway through his words when a shrill scream came out of his mouth. His right wrist was pierced by Tsing Hui's sword, and blood flowed out. "Stop! What are you doing?" Seeing Tsing Hui's heavy hand, Zhuo Fengyun and Zhuo Xiangyang roared in anger. Even Zhuo Yunqing jumped in fright. "Tsing Hui! You!" Tsing Hui didn't reply. He pierced Zhuo Fenglei's wrist with his sword and didn't stop. Instead, he stabbed at Zhuo Fenglei's calf. "Stop! I told you to stop!" Zhuo Fengyun was instantly enraged. Taking advantage of Zhuo Yunqing's shock, he suddenly shot out and broke away from her obstruction. He stabbed with his sword, fully displaying the strength and swordsmanship of a peak marrow-cleansing cultivator. "Cho Tsing Hui, how dare you use such a vicious move? Cripple one of Fenglei's arms. This time, even your father can't protect you. Die!" Vicious move. Tsing Hui's expression turned cold. This is called vicious move. After all, the real Cho Tsing Hui had been beaten to death by them 4 days ago. Compared to the death of Cho Tsing Hui, crippling Zhuo Fenglei's arms was nothing. Chapter 8. Who would have thought that even brother Fang Yu couldn't do anything to Cho Tsing Hui? Feng Cun Gui's expression was ugly. His strength was on par with Fang Yu's. If Tsing Hui could easily defeat Fang Yu, he could naturally defeat him as well. Zhuo Fengyun is obviously not a match for Cho Tsing Hui alone. To prevent Cho Tsing Hui from attacking Zhuo Fengyun again and causing him to be banished from the Zhuo family, junior sister Su, please make a move this time. Erasure Yudo looked at the battlefield and said indifferently. "Alright, I've long disliked this brat. He should take a look in the mirror and see what kind of person he is. How dare he chase after you like a toad lusting after a swan? I'll make him understand how big the gap between you and him is." Su Karen revealed an excited smile on her face. Ha, there's no need for senior sister Su to make a move. It's just Cho Tsing-hui. I alone am enough to deal with him. Jin-go saw that Su Karen had stepped forward. He did not want to miss the opportunity to show off. He laughed loudly and ignored the fact that Tsing-hui was fighting with Zhuo Fengyun. He shouted brazenly, Cho Tsing-hui, your methods are so vicious. No wonder the Zhuo family wants to get rid of you. It's best that you obediently accept your captivity and be brought to the Zhuo family to receive your punishment. Is there no end to this? Cho Tsing-hui relied on the mysterious sword techniques of China's sword sage Tsing-hui to easily defeat Zhuo Fenglei and Fang Yu. However, his cultivation base was only at the initial stage of marrow cleansing. His advantage against Zhuo Fengyun, who was already at the peak of marrow cleansing, was greatly reduced. On top of that, Jin-go, who had cultivated his lungs, was in a dire situation. Flowing gold quake. Jin-go let out a low roar. As he exerted all his strength, a roaring sound of water seemed to ring out from within his body. He, who had refined his internal organs, was like a ferocious beast that had suddenly erupted, bringing along a suffocating pressure as he pounced forward. As he slashed down with his sword, the air waves in the air actually produced a slight tremor. This sword actually seemed to tear apart the air. Bang! Tsing-hui reacted quickly. Blocking the sword horizontally, he easily blocked the trajectory of the sword completely. But, he had underestimated the power of a viscera refining expert's 5 viscera and 6 bowels. Following the explosion, Tsing-hui's expression suddenly changed. A series of bone-cracking sounds rolled up from his wrist to his shoulder. The terrifying force from the explosion almost broke his entire arm. Buzz! At this critical moment, Tsing-hui used the Dongyang sword sect's qi and blood force technique to adjust his strength. He instantly absorbed the vibrating force into his body and then stepped on the ground. As the solid bluestone floor was crushed, he took 6 steps back and lost all feeling in his right hand that was holding the sword. Good chance. Zhuo Fengyun's eyes flashed as he saw through Tsing-hui's abnormality. The sword in his hand whistled as it pierced through the air. In an instant, the sword arrived in front of Tsing-hui. The tip of the sword went straight for his heart. Kill. Just based on the fact that Tsing-hui had killed Zhuo Fenglei, he dared to kill him. Tsing-hui's eyes became as sharp as the coldest winter. Facing Zhuo Fengyun's sword, which was as fast as lightning, he only had enough time to tilt his body and let the sword cut through his chest. However, his left hand met Zhuo Fengyun's sword as he tilted his body. Using his fingers as a sword, he fiercely pointed it at Zhuo Fengyun's chest. Crack! The sound of bones shattering echoed clearly. There was the sound of Tsing-hui's finger bones shattering, but more than that, there was the sound of Zhuo Fengyun's ribs shattering. Not only that, the strength of the finger pierced through Zhuo Fengyun's body and fiercely hit his heart. Although it did not shatter his heart, it caused his body to shake violently. It was as if all the strength in his body had been sucked out. Eastern Sun Sword Sect's Meridian Severing Technique. After using the Meridian Severing Technique to suppress Zhuo Fengyun, Tsing-hui's right hand, which had faintly recovered a bit of feeling, suddenly lifted. Zhuo Fengyun's right hand, which had stabbed out with his sword, was cut by the sword. Stop! Rip! Ah! Shouts and screams resounded through the alley at the same time. Zhuo Fengyun, the #1 expert of the younger generation of the Zhuo family, had half an arm cut off by Tsing-hui's sword. Blood spurted out from the upper half of his arm and splattered all over the ground. Bastard! Seeing that Zhuo Fengyun had been heavily injured even with his help, Jin-go suddenly felt that he had lost a lot of face. With a roar, the sharp sword in his hand vibrated again, brazenly chopping down. However, Tsing-hui had already understood the strength of a viscera refinement expert's physique. Facing Jin-go's sword, he flew backwards. His level 2 sword talent had instantly seen through most of the characteristics of this sword technique. Without waiting for Jin-go to launch another attack, his figure had already paused, and then switched from defense to offense. Bang! 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 The sound of metal clashing instantly rang out. Xing Hui, who had switched from defense to offense, had actually borrowed the strength of a storm of attacks, not giving Jin Go any time to charge up and explode, completely suppressing his arrogance. How is this possible? Big brother Jin Go has already started to temper his internal organs and stepped into the viscera refinement realm. Jin Go's sister saw her brother, who was unhindered in the younger generation of the cloud desolate city, being suppressed by Xing Hui, and was immediately dumbfounded. Junior sister Su, what are you waiting for? Why aren't you helping young master Jin Go take down Cho Xing Hui? Zhuo Fengyin's injuries won't take long. Erasure Yudo said coldly from the side. Her starry eyes flashed with a trace of coldness. Cho Xing Hui, who had always followed behind her like a lapdog, had suddenly displayed such terrifying potential. This made her feel uneasy. Only she knew how she treated Cho Xing Hui back then. It was just that at that time, Cho Xing Hui was incomparably infatuated with her, and was almost willing to be beaten, scolded, and begged. However, the reunion in the morning had already made her understand that Cho Xing Hui was no longer the Cho Xing Hui who listened to her every word. This was the eldest son of the Zhuo family's direct descendant, who was valued by the Hunyuan heavenly sect's genius disciple, Nailan Fei, when he was 12 years old. Once he was no longer dispirited, the talent that erupted from his accumulation was still enough to overshadow any young genius in the cloud desolate city. Yes sir. Su Karen, who was urged by Erasure Yudo, felt a chill in her heart and hurriedly agreed. She was only an outer court disciple, and only by being valued by Erasure Yudo, who had a limitless future, would she have a chance of entering the inner court or even becoming a true disciple. Now that she had heard the deep meaning in Erasure Yudo's tone, she did not dare to be negligent. Swish! Leaping forward, Erasure Yudo directly attacked Xing Hui. Stop, what are you doing? Bullying with numbers. Zhuo Yunqing had previously been shocked by how Xing Hui had cut off half of Zhuo Fengyin's arm. At this moment, seeing Su Karen make a move, she immediately came to her senses. With a shout, she suddenly raised her sword horizontally. However, her strength was at best similar to Zhuo Fenglei's, and was slightly inferior to Fang Yu's. How could she block Su Karen? Accompanied by the aura of a peak viscera refinement cultivator whose 5 viscera and 6 bowels had been completely refined, her unsheathed sword carried the power of a thunderbolt as it fiercely slammed into Zhuo Yunqing's body. Scram! Bang! A shockwave erupted. Xing Hui had been sent flying by Jin Go, who had just started refining his viscera refining stage. Zhuo Yunqing's precise control of strength was far inferior to Xing Hui's, so how could she block the sword of a peak viscera refining stage expert? As the shockwave dissipated, Zhuo Yunqing, who had rushed forward to intercept her, was sent flying back at a speed not inferior to the speed she had used to arrive. Her internal organs were almost completely displaced by this sword, and she spat out a mouthful of blood in the air, her aura rapidly declining. Heavy injuries, internal injuries. When this scene fell into Xing Hui's eyes, his expression immediately turned cold. Although Zhuo Yunqing had mocked and ridiculed him in the morning, when faced with Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, and Zhuo Xiangyang's obstruction, she had not hesitated to stand up and fight alongside Xing Hui. No matter how you looked at it, she could be considered one of Xing Hui's people. Now, Su Karen's sword had heavily injured her, and it was unknown whether she was dead or alive. Killing intent suddenly surged. Divine Art. Chapter 9. Divine Art. This was one of the mysterious abilities given to him by the Chaos Temple. When Xing Hui mentioned this ability, he had already sensed the existence of this power. At this moment, with a thought, this chaos secret art that could increase one's cultivation by 1 level was immediately activated. Buzz buzz. For a moment, a vast and mysterious pure power emerged from Xing Hui's body and filled every corner of his internal organs in a way that defied common sense. Organs refinement. His cultivation had increased by one level, from marrow cleansing to organs refinement. With the strengthening of his internal organs, his aura, blood, and explosive power were all greatly enhanced. He had climbed to a new level, causing his current state to surpass his peak in China. Bang! Jin Go, who was originally at a disadvantage, felt that Xing Hui's power had increased by several times. A thunderous force exploded the moment it clashed with his sword. The sword that he held tightly in his hand was almost sent flying by the shock wave. Not good. Jin Go's expression changed drastically. He sensed that something was wrong and immediately retreated. But it was too late. Right now, the Green Ruins' attacks were like a storm. With the first strike, the second strike followed closely behind. Before he could adjust himself from the attack, he was no longer able to hold the sword in his hand. As his palm split open and blood spurted out, the sword was actually knocked out of his hand. Swish! The sword edge that followed was like a hot knife cutting through butter. Like a bolt of lightning, it instantly pierced into Jin Wu's body. Even though his reaction was extremely fast and he managed to avoid a fatal injury, his body was still left with a dark red sword wound. He was almost pierced through by the sword. After hitting the target, the Qing Su's sword suddenly turned. As Jin Wu cried out in pain, his wound was torn open. He raised the sword and the sharp edge of the sword blocked Su Karen's attack at the same time. Bang! Gold and iron clashed, and sparks flew. Xing Hui retreated and took advantage of the moment to twist his body. He borrowed the force from Su Karen's sword and integrated it into his next sword move, Void Cross Strike. This, Su Karen, who originally thought that she had the upper hand, did not have the time to follow up with another attack. She was immediately hit by Xing Hui's counterattack and had no choice but to switch from offense to defense. She held her sword horizontally to block. Waves of air burst forth. Even though Su Karen was clenching her sword tightly, her palm still felt numb from Xing Hui's attack, which was infused with two different types of power. However, in the end, she was still a peak viscera refining cultivator. Her 5 viscera and 6 bowels had been tempered, so the strength of her internal organs was far beyond what an ordinary person could compare with. In an instant, she shook her sword and knocked away Xing Hui's sharp sword. Then, she once again launched a new attack. For a time, under the incredulous gazes of Zhuo Fenglei, Zhuo Xiangdong, Fang Yu, Zhuo Fengyun and the others, the two people madly clashed. The sound of swords colliding in the air continued to resound, making everyone dumbfounded. Bang! The two people fiercely fought for 10 breaths of time, and a burst of air suddenly exploded in the middle of the two people's battle. Suddenly, the small alley was filled with dust. In the smoke and dust, two figures flew out at the same time and retreated. Every step they took on the ground was bound to shatter the stone floor. This, seeing that Cho Xing Hui's strength was not inferior to Su Karen's, everyone's face was filled with disbelief. What was even more shocking was what happened next. Rumble. In less than a moment, a rumbling sound came from under Su Karen's feet. The ground she was standing on was instantly torn apart. Cracks spread all over the ground, causing the 1-meter radius around her to collapse by half a foot. It was obvious how astonishing the power she had just channeled into the ground was. If this power were to erupt in a person's body, it would definitely be enough to blast them to pieces. As for herself, a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of her mouth. She glared at Xing Hui, wishing she could swallow him whole. Just as so. Xing Hui said. He didn't even press the advantage and his figure flashed, directly appearing in front of Zhuo Yunqing and helping her up. If you're not afraid of death, then come at me, but I won't hold back anymore. After saying this, Xing Hui left with Zhuo Yunqing. Jin Go, Fang Yu, Feng Kugi, Zhuo Fengyun and the others were all shocked. They were intimidated by Xing Hui's momentum and didn't dare to move. How is this possible? Defeated. Miss Su Karen is a disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect, how could she be defeated? I can see that Miss Su's cultivation has definitely reached the peak of the viscera refinement stage. She only needs to take one more step to enter the blood transformation stage and become a martial arts grandmaster. With this kind of strength, other than a few grandmasters in the entire cloud-desolate city, no one can suppress her. Even if she were to challenge the entire Zhuo family, as long as the Zhuo family's grand elders don't swarm her, she wouldn't be afraid at all. But she actually lost. When did Cho Tsing-Hui's cultivation reach such a level? Not inferior to a viscera refinement expert. What kind of secret technique did he use? Zhuo Fenglei and Zhuo Xiangdong, who had been clamoring in front of Cho Tsing-Hui, had a trace of fear in their eyes. Cho Tsing-Hui's strength was not inferior to a peak viscera refinement expert. In the entire Zhuo family, who could stop him? Cho Tsing-Hui, could this be the reason why Nailan Fei thinks so highly of you, or do you have a special bloodline talent? Erisher Yuto's enchanting eyes narrowed slightly. When Tsing-Hui had helped Zhuo Yunqing away, she had wanted to stop them for a split second. However, the strength that Tsing-Hui had displayed at that time was not inferior to her own. If she attacked Tsing-Hui and failed to stop him, it would be a serious blow to her reputation. It was very likely that Nailan Fei would seize the opportunity to prevent her from becoming a true disciple under Elder Zhuri's tutelage. In the end, she did not make a move. Cho Tsing-Hui's love for me has turned into hatred. If he really has such talent, once he rises and Nailan Fei finds a way to recruit him into the Hunyuan Heaven sect, he may even threaten my position in the future. Tsing-Hui helped Zhuo Yunqing back to the Zhuo family's residence. Although he had not gone to the Zhuo family's residence in the past few days, he knew where it was. A cooldown of 1 month. Not bad. Along the way, he was still sensing the various changes that occurred when the Divine Art's primal chaos force remained in his body. He did not know what principle the existence in the primal chaos divine palace used to increase his cultivation by 1 stage without any side effects. Not only were there no side effects, but comprehending the mysteries of organs refinement in advance was also very beneficial to his future organs refinement cultivation. After using it for a long time, it would be easier for him to reach a higher level. Such a method, it was indeed a little unbelievable. It was no wonder Dong Qian could advance by leaps and bounds after obtaining the Heavenly Monarch's method to enter the Primal Chaos Divine Palace and reach the Shattering Void stage in 1,000 years. Cho Tsing-Hui. You've come at the right time. We've been ordered to capture you and bring you back to the family for questioning. Obediently surrender and follow us back. If you dare to resist, you'll be severely punished. That's Zhuo Yunqing. What did you do to Yunqing? While Tsing-Hui was slightly distracted, a reprimand rang out from the front. He lifted his head and saw 4 Zhuo family law enforcers blocking his path. Among the 4, there were 2 organs refinement stage grand elders. It was clear that the family valued this matter. Since you're here, you can take her back to treat her injuries. Tsing-Hui handed Zhuo Yunqing over to one of the elders. He had some impression of this elder. His name was Zhuo Xiaozi, and he was a grand elder in the faction of Cho Tsing-Hui's father, Zhuo Shuri. Tsing-Hui was relieved to hand Zhuo Yunqing over to him. Cho Tsing-Hui, what are you trying to do? Zhuo Xiaozi's expression turned somewhat strange when he heard Tsing-Hui's words. Also, what's with the injuries on your body? He must be trying to escape. Why are we wasting so much time talking to him? The Hunyuan Heaven sect's inner sect disciple token is extremely precious, and our Zhuo family has completely missed out on it. He has committed such a huge mistake, so we should capture him and bring him back to the family for the grand elders to deal with. Chapter 10. Tsing-Hui glanced at the elder who spoke. Zhuo Feiyu, an elder of the Law Enforcement Hall. Because of Cho Tsing-Hui, he was deeply afraid of him, so he recognized him. I'll leave him to you. After Tsing-Hui finished speaking, he turned around and left. Did I say you could leave? Stop right there. Zhuo Feiyu's expression turned stern as he suddenly reached out to grab Tsing-Hui. Wait a moment, Elder Feiyu, let me ask you what happened. What happened to Yunqing? Her injuries are not light. And your body. Is this a sword wound? Even though you have committed a grave mistake, as long as your ancestral records have not been removed, you will still belong to our Zhuo family. In the cloud-desolate city, no one dares to easily attack our Zhuo family. Zhuo Xiaozi's figure moved, directly blocking in front of Zhuo Feiyu, just in time to intercept Zhuo Feiyu's attack towards Tsinghui. It's nothing. Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, and the others couldn't wait to capture me. After they were no match for me, they teamed up with Fang Yu, Jin Go, and the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect disciple Su Karen to surround and kill me. Yun Qing was injured by Su Karen's sword technique because she wanted to stop Su Karen. Qi. Zhuo Feiyu sneered, Zhuo Fengyun, Zhuo Fenglei, and the others are no match for you? And you even want to ally with Fang Yu, Jin Go, and even the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect disciple Su Karen? Not to mention Su Karen, the Hunyuan Heavenly Sect disciple, and Jin Go, the two great organs refinement experts, just Fang Yu, Zhuo Fenglei, and Zhuo Fengyun, which one of them isn't much stronger than you? There's no need for us to join forces to deal with you. Even if you want to blow your own trumpet, you should be more pragmatic. Do you think that the Patriarch Assembly will let you off just because you're talented? Tsinghui couldn't be bothered to explain too much to Zhuo Feiyu. Zhuo Yunqing was already here, so he didn't stay any longer and turned to leave. Stop! Zhuo Feiyu roared and suddenly stepped forward, aiming for Tsinghui's neck. However, before Zhuo Feiyu could reach Tsinghui and lock him in place, the sharp sword in Tsinghui's hand had already reached him with a dazzling sword light. If Zhuo Feiyu dared to take another step forward, he would definitely be injured by the blade of the sword. How dare you raise your sword against an elder? Zhuo Feiyu narrowed his eyes. Originally, he had only focused on capturing the enemy alive, but now, he changed his stance and became even fiercer. He locked onto the enemy, intending to break the enemy's right shoulder blade in one fell swoop and cripple his arm. Buzz! The sharp sword hummed softly. Tsinghui's sword constantly changed. No matter how Zhuo Feiyu changed his stance, Tsinghui's sword was always in direct opposition. The two exchanged several moves back and forth. Although there wasn't the slightest bit of physical confrontation, Zhuo Feiyu's expression quickly turned grave. When Zhuo Xiaozi saw this scene, a strange light flashed across his eyes. Tsinghui, your father has already sent a letter to Miss Fei. If you don't feel ashamed and truly want to conquer Erasure Yudo, you should go to Miss Fei's place and receive her training. With your talent, if you focus on cultivation, you won't lose to any of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's inner sect disciples. Zhuo Xiaozi's mouth opened and closed, his voice sounding in Tsinghui's ears through a special method. Tsinghui glanced at Zhuo Xiaozi. From the looks of it, although Chou Tsinghui's father was extremely strict with him and didn't hesitate to expel him from the Zhuo family, it was ultimately just to protect him. Blood was thicker than water. Unfortunately, the real Chou Tsinghui was already dead. Tsinghui's sword trembled, immediately forcing Zhuo Feiyu to retreat. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he took a step back as well. The few of you can't keep me here. This matter ends here. With that said, his figure flew forward. Stop right there. Zhuo Feiyu shouted sternly as he quickly blocked Tsinghui. At the same time, he shouted at the other two marrow cleansing enforcers, what are the two of you standing there for? Stop him. Upon receiving the order, the two law enforcement hall experts quickly surrounded Tsinghui. However, Tsinghui's figure flashed, and he had already extricated himself from their encirclement. Then, with a leap, he pulled them apart. Zhuo Feiyu quickly chased after him, but before he could reach the street, he had already lost sight of Tsinghui. For a moment, his expression turned rather ugly. However, when Zhuo Xiaozi saw Tsinghui calmly retreat from the encirclement of Zhuo Feiyu and the two law enforcement hall experts, his eyes couldn't help but light up. From the looks of it, Tsinghui has already reached the marrow cleansing realm. It's probably because of the marrow cleansing pill. In addition, his combat strength has exceeded my expectations. Perhaps it's true that he defeated Zhuo Fengyun and Zhuo Fenglei. If he had displayed such talent earlier, the clan leader would have already used the inner sect disciple token to send him to the Hunyuan Heaven sect. I wonder if it's too late for him to turn a blind eye now. Cloud Forest Restaurant. It was one of the top restaurants in the Cloud Desolate City. Its influence was astonishing, and its branches were spread throughout the entire Lorraine Kingdom. It was said that the restaurant used 60% of its profits every year to pay tribute to a true disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect in exchange for the protection of that true disciple. That was why it was able to open restaurants all over the Lorraine Kingdom. At this moment, in a first-class guest room, Erisher Yuto was talking to an old man. The old man looked to be around 60 years old, but he gave off an unfathomable feeling. Even if he stood respectfully in front of Erisher Yuto like a servant, it still couldn't conceal the unique aura of an expert from his body. Mr. Yuan, it's not convenient for me to appear in this matter. I can only rely on you. Erisher Yuto seemed to have finished narrating what she wanted to do. When she was done, she cupped her hands respectfully at the old man in front of her. The old man's name was Yuan Yang, and he was a servant of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's elder, Juri. As he was good at figuring out the intentions of his superiors, he was highly regarded by Juri even though his cultivation wasn't good. However, the so-called cultivation wasn't good in Juri's eyes. In fact, he was already a martial Dao master who had reached the great success stage of blood transformation. It was only because he couldn't awaken the bloodline in his body and condense true qi that he couldn't break away from his mortal body and step into the sixth stage of immortality. When Erisher Yuto wanted to personally come to the Cloud Desolate City to clear her name, he was sent by Juri to protect her safety. Miss, your decision is very correct. Although Chode Xinghui has missed the golden age for cultivation and his future achievements are limited, no one knows if he will obtain any opportunities and soar to the sky. In history, there are countless examples of cultivators who were abandoned by others rising up. Especially, in recent years, the extremely mysterious Chaos Shrine has been very active. The number of sons of Chaos who have been exposed in the Eastern Wasteland to enter the Chaos Shrine is already more than 100, let alone those who are hiding in the dark. Ending it early is indeed the best way to get things done once and for all. Sons of Chaos, hearing Yuan Yang mention this, Erisher Yuto's heart skipped a beat. Mister, when Chode Xinghui was fighting with Jean Go and junior sister Su Karen just now, he raised his marrow cleansing level to a level that is not weaker than the organ's refining level. It is very similar to the legendary divine art that only level 10 Chaos can cultivate. Could it be that he entered the Chaos Shrine by chance and became a son of Chaos? Yuan Yang laughed and said, I'm just saying. How could it be a Chaos skill? It's just a secret skill. Like you said, divine skill is a legendary skill that can only be cultivated by level 10 Chaos cultivators. Although there are many sons of Chaos in the Eastern Wasteland, more than 90% of them are stuck at level 1 and can't make any further progress. They rely on level 1 comprehension and recovery to gain an advantage. Treasures with Tao are extremely precious. Every time such a treasure appears, it will lead to a fierce battle. Even Immortal Realm Level 6 and Upper Realm Level 6 will personally take action. Therefore, those who are at the higher level of Chaos are either patriarchs or elders of holy lands. Ordinary people who are at the level of Chaos without a strong cultivation base would have been captured and tortured by those patriarchs and elders of holy lands long ago, forcing them to inherit their level of Chaos. Even level 10 Chaos cultivators can inherit level 5 Chaos cultivators, and many elders are below level 5. Could it be that he also inherited his level 10 Chaos from a son of Chaos? Erisher Yuto guessed. That's impossible. Divine Art is a level 10 Chaos technique. As far as I know, the sect master of Create Evolve Mystical Sect, Dao Xuani, is only at level 16. If he wants to have a level 10 Chaos technique when he inherits it, then the Chaos technique of the inheritor has to be at least level 20. There's no one like him in the entire Eastern Wasteland. Yuan Yang finished speaking and stood up. Don't worry too much, Mississippi. I'll personally deal with Chode Xinghui. You should focus on the bloodline awakening. It's not worth wasting your energy on a person who's about to die. Arashir Yudo nodded. She also felt that she was overthinking. She bowed slightly and said, "This matter needs to be carried out secretly. I'll rely on Mr. Yuan." Chapter 11. Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Xinghui walked on the mountain path outside the cloud-desolate city as he recalled everything about the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect was one of the top 10 sacred grounds in the eastern wilderness, and it was one of the top sects in the second tier. Among the top 10 sacred grounds, the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect was the unshakable number 1 sect. They dominated the eastern wilderness, and their forces were everywhere in the eastern wilderness. Behind them was the Wuji Sword Sect. The Wuji Sword Sect had inherited the killing sword Dao from before the divine wilderness was destroyed. Although they were now in decline, they still relied on the various numinous treasures and saint artifacts to inherit the killing sword Dao. Even so, the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect was still wary of them. Below them was the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, the Qiankuan Sacred Ground, and the 6 Paths of Gods and Demons. The Xinshao Sword Sect, which had developed extremely quickly, was also included. These 4 sects formed the second tier of the sacred grounds. As for the Pharaoh Sect, Jin Wu Religion, Green Lotus Sword Sect, and Giant Dragon Mountain Range, because they did not have a Saint 6th stage expert overseeing them, even if their development potential was not weaker than any of the sects other than the Create-Evolve Mysterious Sect, they were still slightly weaker than the previous 6 sacred grounds. The Lorraine country was one of the 24 countries under the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Its national strength was average, but it did not have many experts. Every major city had a blood transformation grandmaster overseeing it. Even the top cities with a population of 1 million had immortal 6th stage experts who had awakened their bloodline. From this, one could infer how powerful the Hunyuan Heaven Sect was: 6 stages of mortal, 6 stages of immortality. The first stage is awakening, the second stage is sword qi, and the third stage is aura condensation. These 3 stages are the first 3 stages of immortality, also known as the lower 3 stages. Above that would be the spirit and qi uniting stage, the Qing Ming stage, and the last stage of immortality, the prominent divine stage. Dong Qian awakened sword qi at the age of 20, and refined aura sword at the age of 30. Clearly, he had reached the aura condensation stage at the age of 30. Above that, sword origin, sword force, realm, shattering vacuum, and so on are obviously not part of the immortality 6 stages. They are higher realms. Seems like I need to study the Chaos Godly Palace in detail and see what made Dong Qian so proud. With a thought, Xinghui divided a part of his spirit and outlined the Chaos Gate. Suddenly, the mysterious feeling of heaven and earth and the primordial chaos surged into his mind. His mental strength was at level 31, so it was not difficult for him to do 2 things at once. Very quickly, Xinghui was already in that vast white space. The space was monotonous as always. Xinghui glanced around and quickly noticed something. He focused his spirit on a point in the vast white space. In the next moment, it was as if a door had been pushed open. The white environment around him suddenly changed, and he was already in a huge temple. The temple was extremely tall. Looking from the inside, it was still hundreds of meters tall. The interior was spacious, like a small city. It could easily accommodate 100,000 people. There were no less than thousands of people coming and going on the 2 sides of the temple. These people were in a hurry, and they were constantly going back and forth. It made the temple look rather lively. Looks like there are quite a few sons of chaos. Xinghui shuttled through the temple for a while, and he seemed to understand this phenomenon quite well. Suddenly, a figure of light was projected from the temple, and it turned into a dignified old man. I have a drop of true phoenix blood, a lower level 9 sacred artifact, a upper level 8 sacred artifact, 2 middle level 8 sacred artifacts, and 4 lower level 8 sacred artifacts. Those who are interested can come to Mount Yunhua in the Barren Lands to find me. If the price is reasonable, I am willing to send my incarnation to make the transaction. It's the Xianyang sect master. As soon as the figure of light appeared, there was a burst of exclamations from the crowd. Only Xianyang Dao Lord, whose strength has reached the 5th level of the 6th level of the Saint Realm, dares to announce his location. However, Xianyang Dao Lord has an extremely good reputation, and there are very few cases of him seizing things by force. Those who are in Heaven Wasteland region don't have to worry about suffering a loss if they go to him for a transaction. If they're lucky enough to catch the eye of Xianyang Dao Lord and be accepted as a disciple, then their future will truly be boundless. A level 25 chaotic incarnation technique. TSK. Only Xianyang sect master is willing to use his incarnation like this. A level 9 sacred artifact. For a cultivator who has just stepped into the immortality realm, it can increase his attack by 25 to 50 levels, allowing him to easily defeat an ordinary 3rd level of the immortality realm. Even if the increase decreases with his cultivation level, it can still allow an immortality realm 5th level to fight against an immortality realm 6th level existence. A man's wealth is his own ruin. An immortality realm 1st level holding a level 9 sacred artifact, isn't that seeking death? Even an immortality realm 5th level expert might not be able to keep a level 9 sacred artifact. Once exposed, he will definitely be hunted down. The lowest market price of a level 9 sacred artifact is 50 Daoist rhymes, which is enough to increase a chaotic realm by half. There are so many experts in the barren lands, and they are rich in resources. The true blood of the phoenix and a level 9 sacred artifact are on sale. Even those who have merged their divine chi in the barren lands dare to call themselves kings. Those who have cultivated to the 1st level of the 6th level of the Saint Realm and condensed their true yuan are even clamoring to unify the continent. They are so arrogant that they don't know their limits. I have heard of the barren lands. It is isolated in the sea, and the sea is dangerous. Those who are not saints can't cross it. However, there are countless continents like this that are formed from the fragments of the divine barren lands. How can it be compared to the barren lands left behind by the main body of the divine barren lands? Junior, the arrogant person you're talking about who wants to unify the barren lands is our sect master. Do you dare to tell us your name for insulting our sect master? Misunderstanding, this is a misunderstanding. I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first. Tsing Hui stood to the side, quietly listening to everyone's conversation. He couldn't help but widen his horizons. Tian Huang. Saint Realm. This was information that he could not come into contact with in the cloud-desolate city. What surprised him even more was, according to what they said, they were at least on immortal level. It seemed like immortal level rank 6 cultivators were the mainstream in the Chaos Shrine. From the looks of it, Dongqian had really left behind an incredible treasure for him. However, compared to inheriting the primal chaos level of the Primal Chaos Temple, the most important thing was the fortune of the divine jade in his mind. A 9th level inferior grade sacred artifact that could allow a cultivator of the 1st level of immortality to defeat a cultivator of the 3rd level of immortality was only worth 50 Daoist rhymes, which was only equivalent to 50 days of unknown primordial chi of the fortune divine jade. Since Dao Lord Xianyang, who was at the 5th realm of the Saint Realm and clearly surpassed the 6th realm of the Longevity Realm and the 6th realm of the Longevity Realm, had taken it out, then its value was obvious. Qing Su's expression couldn't help but become slightly solemn when he realized this. The secret of the fortune divine jade could not be known to anyone. With the fortune divine jade, his primal chaos level would also rise extremely quickly. In order to avoid being noticed, he had to hide his identity as the son of primal chaos as much as possible. Only when I'm strong enough to protect the fortune of the fortune divine jade can I use the mysteries of the fortune divine jade to my heart's content. Moreover, I don't know what kind of realm the shattering vacuum realm is. I need to reach it as soon as possible and find the true God, Jun's cave abode to return to Earth. If it's like Dongqian, who took 1,000 years to reach the shattering vacuum realm, Earth would have changed a long time ago. It was a pity that the Taoist rhymes of the fortune divine jade could not be extracted for trade. Otherwise, with a 9th level sacred artifact, he would be able to move unhindered among the 6th level of immortality. The Fortune Divine Jade cannot be used for trade, but the treasures and sacred artifacts refined by the advancement technique can be traded. Xing Hui narrowed his eyes and focused on the advancement technique that he did not take to heart. After 90 days, when his primal chaos level reached the 11th level, he would be able to use the advancement technique. Just as Xing Hui was multitasking to learn more about the primal chaos temple, he inadvertently caught sight of a figure in the outer world. Someone was following him. Chapter 12. Someone was following him. Qing Su remained unfazed, but he activated appraisal with a single thought. Immediately, the basic information of the stalker appeared in his mind. Yuan Yang, except for mental strength, all of his attributes are below the 10th order. Cultivation. Blood-changing realm. The blood-changing realm was a grand master of a region. It was easy for them to establish a sect in the mortal world. Even the nobles would try to win over a Grand Master of Blood-Changing Realm. If a Grand Master of Blood-Changing Realm was willing to join a noble's sect, he would immediately be treated as a distinguished guest. Because the Cloud Desolate City was close to the Cloud Desolate mountain range, it was one of the largest cities in the Lorraine Kingdom. Although no one had awakened their bloodline, there were 1 or 2 Grandmasters in Fang, Jin, Feng, and the City Lord's mansion. However, there was no blood-changing realm expert called Yuan Yang among these grandmasters. This person was following him with ill intentions. It was most likely related to Erasure Yudo. This woman, Xing Hui frowned. The Hunyuan Heaven Sect Disciple token was given to Cho Xing Hui by Nailin Fei when she saw his talent. However, because he had given resources to Erasure Yudo for a long time, his performance was mediocre. As a result, Zhuoshiri was unwilling to give him the token and send him to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. After all, the token was obtained by Nailin Fei on behalf of the Zhuo family. If the Zhuo family sent someone with mediocre cultivation to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, not only would they lose face for Nailin Fei, but what would the other true disciples and elders think? It was one thing to send someone directly into the inner sect through the back door, but to send a trash who didn't even have the qualifications to be an outer sect disciple? Did you think you had the final say in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's inner sect? Because of this, the Zhuo family was extremely envious of this disciple token. They were also extremely hostile to Cho Xing Hui, which gave Erasure Yudo an opportunity. Now, Erasure Yudo had entered the inner court of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect after obtaining the token. Moreover, Elder Zhuri had taken a liking to her. If Xing Hui were to vanish into the crowd and be trapped in the Cloud Desolate City for the rest of her life and never enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, no one would pursue the responsibility of her, a person who relied on stealing a disciple's keepsake to enter the inner sect. But once Xing Hui entered the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and performed well, Nailin Fei only needed to add fuel to the fire. Not only would Erasure Yudo be affected, but Elder Zhuri would also be criticized. Nailin Fei had clearly stated that Erasure Yudo was a thief, but Elder Zhuri still insisted on accepting her into the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. As a result, the sect almost lost an even more outstanding genius disciple. At that time, let alone Erasure Yudo, even Elder Zhuri would be reprimanded. Even if there was no specific punishment, once Elder Zhuri took this matter to heart, Erasure Yudo, who had entered his sect, would be finished. Erasure Yudo obviously understood this point. After witnessing Xing Hui erupt with battle prowess not inferior to a peak viscera refining expert, she immediately asked Yuan Yang to follow and secretly kill him. Blood transformation stage. Qing Su was able to defeat peak organs refinement experts in a single battle with his saint technique, his mastery of the sword from the Eastern Sun Sword Sect, and his talent in the way of the sword from the chaotic Divine Hall, but against this Grandmaster blood conversion, obviously, his strength was not enough. In addition, young peak viscera refining experts like Su Karen obviously could not compare with Yuan Yang's sword arts and techniques. Even if they were both peak viscera refining experts, Su Karen was definitely not Yuan Yang's opponent. Erasure Yudo. I have fused with Cho Tsing Hui's body, so I should inherit Cho Tsing Hui's gratitude and resentment. However, I was originally in a hurry to cultivate to the shattering vacuum stage, so I had no time to care about these trivial matters. Even Zhuo Fengyun and Zhuo Fenglei, I only taught them a lesson. I even planned to let you go for the sake of the bottle of marrow cleansing pills, but I didn't expect you to be so unforgiving and want to kill me. Very well, since you want to play, I will accompany you to the end. Tsing Hui's eyes flashed with indifference. Cultivate? Where can I cultivate? The Hunyuan Heaven sect can also cultivate. His comprehension had increased, and his thinking speed had become extremely fast. He understood why Yuan Yang only followed from afar and did not dare to attack immediately. He was obviously afraid of exposing himself. Once the news of Yuan Yang killing him spread and reached Nailan Fei would take the opportunity to make things difficult for them. Let alone whether they could bear Nailan Fei's anger, even if the elder behind them came forward, he might not be able to protect them. The status of a true disciple was not necessarily inferior to that of an elder. Some of the best among the true disciples could even compete for the deputy sect master's throne and become the successor of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's sect master. Thinking of this, Tsing Hui used a special technique to penetrate his bone marrow and cultivate the marrow cleansing stage while walking on the main road at a steady pace. Not long after, a caravan came from the direction of the Cloud Desolate City, carrying the banner of the Cloud Forest Tower. Considering the Cloud Forest Tower's huge influence in the Lorraine Kingdom and the Hunyuan Heaven sect's true disciple behind them, Tsing Hui stepped forward and cupped his hands towards the leader. "Attendant, how should I address you?" "So it's the Zhuo family's Prince Tsing Hui. Young master, you can call me Yun Tong. Do you have any instructions?" When the attendant saw Tsing Hui, he did not dare to be negligent and cupped his hands in return. "I would like to take a ride in the Cloud Forest Tower's carriage. Please make it convenient." Yun Tong's hesitation did not last long before he agreed. "What's so difficult about that? I'll prepare a carriage for Prince Tsing Hui. However, we're heading to the Lorraine royal capital, so I'm not sure if it's on the way. Coincidentally, I'm also heading to the Lorraine royal capital." "Oh. Prince Tsing Hui wants to take a flying boat from the Lorraine royal capital to the Hunyuan Heaven sect?" Tsing Hui nodded and did not hide anything. Immediately, Yun Tong became even more enthusiastic. "I'll get someone to instruct him. He definitely won't neglect Prince Tsing Hui." Very soon, everyone had made all the necessary arrangements. They had specially cleared out a carriage for Qing Su. When the group set off again, a young guard following beside Yun Tong couldn't help but frown. "Uncle, it's said that Cho Tsing Hui has been expelled from the Zhuo family because he stole the family's keepsake and committed a grave mistake. Why do we still have to treat him so politely? Expelled from the Zhuo family? Has this matter been made public? Do you know why the Zhuo family, a second-rate family that doesn't even have a blood transformation grandmaster, has such power in the Cloud Desolate City? It's naturally because of the Hunyuan Heaven sect's core disciple Nailan Fei. Zhuo Shiri's father took Nailan Fei as his adopted daughter and raised her for several years. Although the Nailan family came to take her away, Miss Nailan still remembered this favor and returned to visit her parents 6 years ago. At that time, Miss Nailan was already a core disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect and had an extremely respected status. The Zhuo family, which was originally just a small family, relied on Miss Nailan's kindness to soar and prosper. That's right, Miss Nailan was taken in as old Mr. Zhuo's adopted daughter. In terms of seniority, she is Cho Tsing Hui's aunt. Back then, Miss Nailan left a Hunyuan Heaven sect inner disciple token in the Zhuo family because she saw that Cho Tsing Hui's talent was pretty good and wanted to guide him. In fact, when Zhuo Shiri adopted Erishir Yudo, he might have imitated his father and wanted to bet on another opportunity. However, unlike the kind-hearted Miss Nailan last time, this time, Yun Tong couldn't help but shake his head. He had adopted an ingrate. "You mean, Miss Nailan is nominally repaying the Zhuo family's kindness, but in reality, the only one who has shown her kindness is Zhuo Shiri's bloodline?" "That's right. Otherwise, how do you think the weak Zhuoshuri's bloodline could sit on the patriarch's seat? It's all because of his relationship with Naylan Fei that the other bloodlines pushed him up. Old Mr. Zhuo has passed away, and if something happens to Zhuoshuri, Naylan Fei may not recognize the Zhuo family anymore. If the other bloodlines of the Zhuo family really want to rise, they can only bypass Zhuoshuri's bloodline and climb up to Naylan Fei. This is also the reason why they are scheming against the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's disciple token. If Chou Tsinghui really becomes ordinary, the Zhuo family can send another talented disciple to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, and Naylan Fei will take care of him. The young guard was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect a second-rate family like the Zhuo family to have so many schemes. In fact, this isn't the reason why I'm so polite to Chou Tsinghui. After all, it's very likely that we'll offend Erasure Yuto because of this matter. Erasure Yuto is very talented and has caught the eye of Elder Zhuri. Once she becomes a disciple of an elder of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, she has a high chance of becoming a true disciple in the future. Then, Deacon, when I left the city, I received a very interesting piece of news. As Yuntong spoke, he cast a meaningful glance at the box Tsinghui was in. The eldest son of the Zhuo family's main bloodline, who usually doesn't show his brilliance and is overshadowed by Erasure Yuto, Jin Go, and the others, recently defeated Zhuo Fengyun, Fang Yu, Jin Go, and even the outstanding outer disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, Su Karen. He has shown amazing talent. Now, he's going to the Hunyuan Heaven Sect to seek refuge with Miss Naylan Fei. I'm looking forward to what kind of future he'll have. Chapter 13. Damn it. Cloud Forest Tower's convoy, Yuan Yang, who was hiding in the dark, walked out from a side road with a gloomy expression. He felt a little regretful. If he had known that Chou Tsinghui would board Cloud Forest Tower's convoy, he would have taken action the moment Chou Tsinghui left the city. Even if he was in danger of being discovered, he would have been able to eliminate the witnesses as long as he acted quickly. But now, there was no use in regretting. Cloud Forest Tower's influence spread throughout the Lorraine Kingdom, and their business extended beyond Lorraine's borders. They had many experts, just like the convoy just now. There were 2 viscera refinement experts and more than 10 tendon transformation and marrow cleansing experts. Although he was not afraid of this lineup, he was not confident that he could kill them all. Once someone escaped and leaked the news, I'll have to return and plan further, Yuan Yang thought to himself as he turned to leave. But at that moment, he seemed to have thought of something. I remember that there's a small sect in Lorraine called the Tianhe sect. It was founded by one of Master's servants. I can't guarantee that I can wipe out the Lorraine Kingdom's convoy alone. If I count in the Tianhe sect's experts, thinking of this, he made a prompt decision. I'll rush to the Tianhe sect immediately. I might be able to intercept them before they step on the flying ship to Hunyuan Heaven Sect. My psyche is strong. I can penetrate my force into every part of my bone marrow and temper it. I still need a year to complete marrow cleansing cultivation. Tsinghui sat in a carriage and cultivated for a day. He immediately understood the time needed for this realm. However, he did not want to stay in the marrow cleansing realm for a year. Tendon changing, marrow cleansing, viscera refining, blood changing. In the Dongyang Sword Manual, there are similar methods of refining the body to strengthen one's qi and blood. Even though it doesn't divide the realms in such detail, it can be summarized as tendon changing, marrow cleansing, viscera refining, and blood changing. Among them, Shaolin Temple has tendon changing scripture and marrow cleansing scripture, which are created specifically for tendon changing and marrow cleansing. Tsinghui's mind went through the longevity secret art. He had been cultivating the longevity secret art since he was a child, and its compatibility with this body was quite high. Moreover, there were ways to connect it later. When he reached the peak of blood transformation, he could cultivate the true Azure Dragon secret art and stimulate a bloodline similar to the sacred beast Azure Dragon. The disadvantage was that it was too gradual and followed the rules. The Eastern Sun Sword sect's Eastern Sun Sword scripture lacked a follow-up, and it didn't have a bloodline activation method, so it wasn't very compatible with him. But, sword cultivation had always been fierce and domineering. The reason why Xinghui was able to become a sword sage in 6 years in China on Earth was not unrelated to the mystery of the Dongyang Sword Codex. If one did not consider the future continuity, the Dongyang Sword Codex was even better. As for connectivity, the secret art of longevity's Azure Dragon's secret art was not a high-level secret art, so he did not need to think too much about it. He might as well rely on himself to obtain a more profound secret art to activate his bloodline. The Dongyang sword mantra can be cultivated at the same time as tendon changing, marrow cleansing, and organs refining. Xinghui immediately practiced the secret art recorded in the Dongyang sword scripture: tendon changing, marrow cleansing, viscera refining, and blood transformation. Because his body was not used to it, even though Xinghui had the experience of cultivating these secret arts when he was on Earth, he still felt unbearable pain all over his body. After cultivating for less than an hour, his whole body was sore and swollen. However, before he planned to rest for a day and continue cultivating the next day, a cool and refreshing feeling emerged from his body and nourished his body. It actually dissipated most of the soreness in his body. Recovery characteristic. Xinghui paused and rested for a while before he once again immersed himself in the tendon changing, marrow cleansing, viscera refining, and blood transformation cultivation. The Dongyang sword scripture is a secret art of sword cultivation. It is both powerful and domineering at the same time. If one cultivates it incorrectly or is in a hurry to succeed, it will often leave behind hidden injuries. Because of this, the Dongyang sword sect has never produced a martial Dao grandmaster in the past 100 years. Even those swordsmanship experts who have succeeded in cultivating it often find it difficult to live past 60 years old. This is the price one has to pay to cultivate the Dongyang sword scripture so quickly and powerfully. However, I increased the recovery point in the Chaos Temple. It seems to have made up for this shortcoming of the Dongyang sword scripture. Xinghui was pleasantly surprised by this discovery. He vaguely seemed to have found the future development direction of the Dongyang sword sect, however, he could not help but fall silent when he thought of the Dongyang sword sect. Now, he was in the eastern wilderness. Compared to Earth and the Dongyang sword sect, he was separated by 2 worlds. Even if he found the future development direction of the Dongyang sword sect, what was the use? I have to hurry. Xinghui lowered his head and muttered to himself. 10 years. 20 years at the latest. Crushing the vacuum. This was the goal he had set for himself. Even though it seemed like an extravagant hope, after a long time, he could not wait. Jiang Ningji also could not wait. Thinking of this, Xinghui, who had been a little sore and swollen, calmed down once again. Cultivate, continue. Prince Xinghui, use this. It will be helpful for your cultivation. In an inn in a small town, Yuntong found Xinghui, who was practicing swordsmanship in the courtyard, and handed him a box. This is blood essence powder. We have seen Prince Xinghui's cultivation during this period of time, but according to Prince Xinghui's cultivation method, it will leave behind hidden dangers in your body. Use some of this blood essence powder to apply internally and externally. Not only will it slightly increase your cultivation efficiency, it will also be good for your body. Blood essence powder. Xinghui had vaguely heard that this was a precious medicine that was worth 100 gold taels. 100 gold taels was worth 1,000 taels of silver. Even in Lorraine's royal capital, a family's annual income was only about 30 taels of silver. Although Yuntong was a steward of Cloud Forest Tower and was a viscera tempering expert, the blood essence powder that was worth 100 gold taels was probably half a year's income for him. Xinghui pondered for a moment and took out an item. Cloud Forest Tower should have its own business channels. Help me sell this and exchange it for blood essence pills. This is, Yuntong took the box from Xinghui and opened it. His pupils immediately constricted. Marrow cleansing pill. Prince Xinghui broke through to the marrow cleansing realm, but he did not consume this marrow cleansing pill. Yes. Xinghui said. Yun Tong looked at Xing Hui with a different gaze. Prince Xing Hui, are you really going to sell the marrow cleansing pill? You relied on yourself to cultivate to the marrow cleansing realm, so you must have just broken through. Once you consume the marrow cleansing pill, it will probably push your cultivation to the peak of the marrow cleansing realm. Sell it. Xing Hui said. He was currently cultivating marrow cleansing, organs refinement, and blood reformation at the same time. The marrow cleansing pill was not as effective as the blood essence pill. Cloud Forest Tower is willing to exchange 10 blood essence pills with Prince Xing Hui. Sure. The blood essence pill's market price fluctuated between 1,500 to 2,000 gold. Compared to the marrow cleansing pill that cost between 10,000 to 15,000 gold, it was much inferior. However, 10 for 1 was enough. Yun Tong was very efficient. With Cloud Forest Tower's business network, he had already brought 10 blood essence pills to Xing Hui the next morning. After obtaining the 10 blood essence pills, Xing Hui's cultivation efficiency increased by several times. Relying on his recovery characteristics, he spared no effort to squeeze out his body's potential and was able to refine 1 blood essence pill a day. After 10 days, he had refined all 10 blood essence pills. With the help of the 10 blood essence pills, his aura had undergone a huge change. He was not inferior to an ordinary organs refinement expert. The Eastern Yang Sword Mantra's cultivation technique is extremely overbearing. Coupled with the fact that I can use other people's techniques to improve myself, my physique has greatly improved in just half a month. Since I'm cultivating tendon changing, marrow cleansing, organs refinement, and blood reformation at the same time, I can't determine my exact realm. However, if I were to face people like Su Karen and Jean Go, I would be able to defeat them even without the help of the Chaos Temple's divine techniques. With this, he finally had the strength to protect himself. Chapter 14. The convoy moved forward, but stopped when they were 4 days away from the Luo Lin Kingdom's capital. They were waiting for someone. Because there might still be people behind them, Xing Hui did not leave the convoy. Instead, he used the environment of the convoy to cultivate in peace, hoping to adjust his physique to the limit of the human body, equivalent to the blood transformation grandmaster level. The waiting time was not too long. On the second day, a group of 4 people joined the convoy. The 4 people consisted of a man and a woman, 2 young people, and 2 people dressed as guards. It was worth mentioning that among the 4 people, without exception, all of them had cultivation not weaker than the viscera refinement stage. 2 of the guards had already reached the peak of the viscera refinement stage and were beginning to circulate their blood and qi. That night, when they were resting in the small town, Yun Tong specially came to invite Xing Hui to have a meal together and introduced the 2 people one by one. Prince Xing Hui, these 2 are our Cloud Forest House's young master Yun Bai and young Miss Yun Yun. Young master and young miss are going to the capital to take the flying boat to participate in the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's outer disciple assessment. They hope to enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and become a member of the Hunyuan Heaven Sect. Yun Tong introduced from the side. So it's young master Yun, I'm sorry for not recognizing you. Xing Hui nodded slightly to the 2 people. Greetings, Prince Xing Hui. The 2 people bowed to Chode Xing Hui with a lukewarm attitude. When Yun Tong saw this scene, he felt a little helpless. He had already told Yun Bai and Yun Yun that Chode Xing Hui had an extraordinary background and that there was someone behind him. In the future, when he entered the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, he had a chance to enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's inner sect. He hoped that his young master and young miss would have a good relationship with Chode Xing Hui as soon as possible. He never thought that his young master and young miss would be used to being flattered by others in Thousand Forest City. But in front of his own young miss and young master, a servant like him naturally couldn't criticize them, so he immediately said with a smile, young master Qing Su is a famous young elite in our Cloud Desolate City. His cultivation is unfathomable, and it's said that his sword technique has even reached the peak of perfection. His future is limitless. That's not right. I've heard of the Cloud Desolate City. There are a few young elites, but I've only heard of Jin Go, Erisher Yuto, Zhuo Fengyun, Fang Yu, and a few others. Cho Tsing-hui, he has a reputation, but... Yun Yun cut in and interrupted. Yun Tong hurriedly said, that's because Prince Tsing-hui usually doesn't reveal himself. In fact, Prince Tsing-hui is the most outstanding genius in the Cloud Desolate City. You may not know, but when Prince Tsing-hui left the Cloud Desolate City half a month ago, he defeated Fang Yu, Zhuo Fengyun, and Jin Go, the three great experts of the Cloud Desolate City. Even Hunyuan Heaven Sect's outer sect disciple Su Karen was only evenly matched with him. He's that powerful. Why would the Zhuo family announce that such a genius was expelled from the family? For a small family like the Zhuo family, it's not easy for such a young genius to be born. No matter what, they have to think of ways to nurture him. Could the rumors be wrong? Yun Tong's face darkened when he heard this. Do you know how to speak? Tsing-hui did not want to waste his breath on the two people at the table. He stood up and said, Deacon Yun Tong, I've finished my meal. Thank you for your hospitality. I still have a sword art that I need to carefully study, so I won't disturb everyone's meal. Goodbye. With that, he left. Yun Tong could only stand up and cup his hands at Tsing-hui before sending him off. After Tsing-hui left, Yun Tong smiled bitterly and turned to Yun Bai and Yun Yun. Young master and young miss, you've really missed an opportunity to befriend Prince Tsing-hui. However, Yun Bai and Yun Yun did not think much of it. Instead, Yun Bai smiled and said, Deacon Yun Tong, father said that the two of us are already adults and allowed us to go out. We already have enough ability to judge our own actions. When you sent me a message 3 days ago, I already sent someone to investigate Cho Tsing-hui. In the end, the result was that he's just fishing for fame. Although he's the eldest son of the Zhuo family's patriarch, he's obsessed with women and has no intention of improving himself. It's said that his cultivation is only at the tendon transformation stage. Not long ago, he even made a huge joke by handing over the opportunity to enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect's inner sect to Erisher Yudo. He's really obsessed with women. What right does such a lecherous person have to befriend us siblings? If it weren't for the fact that I wanted to see what kind of person he is, I wouldn't even be bothered to drink with him at the same table. But, this time, young master and young miss have really misjudged him. Yun Tong smiled bitterly. Deacon Yun Tong, you're worrying too much. This is the first time father has allowed us to act independently. We naturally have to be careful. I was the one who ordered the investigation, and the people I chose were also my most trusted aides. How could the final result be false? I just sent a message to young master and young miss 3 days ago. 3 days, including the journey, the trusted aides only have 2 days to investigate. Thousand Forest City is not close to Cloud Desolate City, and a round trip will take half a month. In just 2 days, young master and young miss have only heard news from half a month ago. All right, Uncle Tong, we're quite confident in our own abilities, but since Uncle Tong says he's so amazing, we have no choice but to give Uncle Tong face. In any case, there's still a 3-day journey to the capital. On the way, we'll find an opportunity to test him. If he really has the ability, we'll befriend him. At that time, we'll enter the Hunyuan Heaven Sect and have more friends there. Test him, Yun Tong hurriedly shook his head. Young master and young miss, if you really want to befriend him, then treat him with sincerity. Why do you need to test him? If you don't want to befriend him, you must not be careless. You just need to maintain the current situation so that it won't end well. Won't end well? Do you think the small Zhuo family can't make our Cloud Forest Tower not show up? Our Cloud Forest Tower has as many experts as the clouds. Which of the 12 elders isn't a master? As for the Zhuo family, if we put aside their relationship with the Hunyuan Heaven Sect, they're not even worth mentioning. Which one of the 12 elders doesn't have the ability to destroy the Zhuo family? I believe that Cho Tsing-hui doesn't have the courage to fall out with our Cloud Forest Tower. Yun Yun picked up a specially prepared towel and elegantly wiped her lips. She spoke calmly, but her tone was filled with strong confidence. "All right, that's it. We have our own ability to judge people." Yuntong smiled bitterly. He originally wanted to find an ally for his young miss after she entered the Hunyuan Heaven sect, but now it seemed that his young master and young miss were too opinionated. It was good to have confidence in oneself, but if this kind of confidence reached the point of blindness and refused to listen to anyone's advice, it would only bring disaster. Half a month ago, Cho Tsing-hui was naturally not worth mentioning and had no value, but who hadn't heard of the saying that a scholar who has been away for 3 days must be looked at with new eyes? We can't make enemies for the Cloud Forest Tower because of a small matter. Since young master and young miss don't like Cho Tsing-hui, then just pretend I didn't say anything. The next day, the convoy set off again. As they were close to the Luo Lin royal capital, there were many more villages on both sides of the road. In addition, Tsing-hui could no longer sense the faintly discernible feeling of being watched, so he already had the idea of leaving the convoy alone. Yesterday's conversation could not be said to be pleasant. Just as Tsing-hui was about to find an opportunity to leave, the sound of rushing carriages and horses suddenly came from the front. Immediately after, he saw a group of masked riders quickly galloping in the direction of the Cloud Forest Tower. There were more than a dozen riders in this group, and every one of them was an expert at the very least. Among them, the 4 leading them had even reached the viscera refining stage and could be called first-rate experts in the Jianghu. Yuntong's face changed when he saw these people sneaking up on them. He shouted, "Get into formation. Defend." Immediately, all the guards, including the 2 peak viscera refining experts beside Yun Bai and Yun Yun, appeared at the same time to protect Yun Bai and Yun Yun. "Who dares to attack my Cloud Forest Tower's caravan?" Yuntong stepped forward with a blade in hand and shouted. The group that was charging forward and seemed to be about to crash into the Cloud Forest Tower's defensive formation, when they saw Yun Bai and Yun Yun, as well as the 2 great peak-level organ refinement bodyguards beside them, they abruptly stopped under the signal of their leader. They stopped less than 10 meters away from the Cloud Forest Tower's formation. Why are there 4 more viscera refining experts? 2 of them are even at the peak viscera refining stage. These 2 peak viscera refining experts are the Cloud Forest Tower's Needlewood Guards. Usually, only the relatives of the Cloud Forest Tower's owner will personally protect them when they go out. The children of the Cloud Forest Tower's owner are in the caravan. Every Needlewood Guard is a peak viscera refining expert who has experienced hundreds of battles. If it weren't for them, it wouldn't be difficult for us to destroy the Cloud Forest Tower's caravan that only had 2 viscera refining experts. But now, even if my lord makes a move, there will be fish that escapes the net. Especially since the Cloud Forest Tower's influence is spread all over the world. Once the Cloud Forest Tower is angry, they will definitely find out about our Tianhe sect. In the end, the consequences will be more terrible than offending a true disciple of the Hunyuan Heaven sect. The dozen riders intercepted the Cloud Forest Tower's caravan, but they were all hesitant to move forward. Compared to the true disciples who were far away, these people were obviously more afraid of the Cloud Forest Tower, which was a local tyrant. This group of people was naturally the Tianhe sect and Yuan Yang, who was ordered to kill Tsing-hui. We have already acted rashly and alerted the enemy. The matter is considered a failure. If they could take advantage of this opportunity to kill Zhuo Qingxiu, they could more or less salvage the situation. No one would take a dead man's life too seriously. But if Zhuo Qingxiu didn't die, the enmity would be irreconcilable. Since there are children of the owner in the Cloud Forest Tower, in order to ensure their safety, they won't easily interfere in this matter. So, Arisher Yudo had asked him to act secretly, but now the arrow was already knocked on the bow. Yuan Yang couldn't care less about exposing his identity. He was Elder Zhuri's follower. No matter how bad the situation was, Elder Zhuri would protect him. Blood transformation stage. Yuntong's heart sank when he felt the pressure of the majestic blood qi on Yuan Yang's body. Yuan Yang urged his horse forward and said in a deep voice, "We are here for Cho Tsing-hui. If the Cloud Forest Tower hands over Cho Tsing-hui, we will leave immediately." Cho Tsinghui. As soon as Yuan Yang finished speaking, everyone in the Cloud Forest Towers caravan looked at Tsinghui. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.